around her. Get you right here with me. Rocking with J to J. Watch the movement. Don't judge my life. LLC. J to J.
It is what it is. Y'all rocking with me or not. So it
Watch
is
the
what it is.
movement. Yeah. Hey, world, what's going on? Hey, Mayjor Mindset in the building. Pum. As you guys can see, I am J to J, touching the microphone. Let me turn my camera off all the way, pause. I'm glad it's dark as hell in here. Y'all can't see me because, yeah, that would have been real bad for the sponsors. I apologize, guys. But, hey, Coach Pinnock. Hey, Coach. Hey, how are you
What's
today?
going on? What's going on, J to J? How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you? Who do we have on the screen with us, sir?
Man, listen, I'm better than okay today. I got some very special guests tonight here with us. I got my boys, man, my sons. I got Jalen, Jordan, and Trey. You know, these are my babies, man. They're here. We're all together here in Georgia at the big house. So I thought this would be a great time to get them on here and let's have some great conversation. So, fellas, introduce yourself, starting with the oldest, going to the youngest.
I'm Trey, the oldest. I'm currently a student at Montgomery College. I'm predominantly on the Germantown campus. I'm a server at a bowling alley, and I just like helping my dad out wherever I can.
Your connection is kind of bad. You might want to come in the house, baby.
All right.
Go ahead, Jalen.
My name Jalen, as was mentioned, as he said earlier. I play basketball at the University of Loyola in New Orleans. I'll be a sophomore next year, and yeah, that's about it. And I'm a major in entrepreneurship, and yeah, that's about it.
I'm Jordan, and I'm waiting for my oldest brother to walk past me. Doesn't seem like he would be doing that. I attend a school in Louisiana that doesn't need to be named, LSU, basically. I play football. I'm very opinionated. I make a lot of conjectures. Yeah, that's really it. Um, Interesting guy in the onion.
Just to clarify, he's still in high school, so he's not committed to LSU as of yet. He goes to U High, which is on the campus of LSU. We don't want to hurt recruitment at all because we trying to get some. We not committed to anybody. He's a Baton Rouge boy. LSU is on his shirt, but he is not committed to LSU. Just want to clarify that. So glad to have my babies here with us tonight. J to J, what was your weekend like?
Oh, weekend was productive and filled with WNBA stuff, like filled with the W. I was so here for it. I was available. I was a happy camper, coach. A happy camper. How was your weekend? What was going on?
Again, the tournament was amazing yesterday. We had a great championship win. Shout out my young fellas, Metro Ball, Pinnock Elite 2028. Yeah, respect to them. They won the chip yesterday at the big time national qualifier in Virginia yesterday. And then this morning, me and Trey jumped on the road to head to Georgia. We made that 10-hour drive to Georgia, and Jalen and Jordan got on the plane to come from Louisiana. So we just all happy to be here and get to spend this time with each other this week. So give us some updates. We only had one game in the W tonight, right?
Yeah, it was one game tonight, guys. So the WNBA was rocking out tonight. We got to see Paige Becker Buckets, as the internet calls her. Paige Buckets, as the internet calls her. She rocks with Dallas. And Paige went off tonight. I think she had 17 in her rookie kind of home opener debut, I believe. So
Okay.
Paige went off. I'm very excited to see not only what Paige does in Dallas, but how that team merges together there in Dallas. Like there are a lot of what the young lady, what's her name? I keep Aguma, not Aguma K.
Gumawale.
Neko was playing against Agumawale.
Hmm.
Yes. I want to see how her and Paige flow together. Like I like that
Absolutely.
combination right there. And if we can see how Dejanay Carrington and her face stay beat, see sis face stay beat, sis face stay on like her primer and everything, whatever she does, like the girlies need to know how to
Oh,
make
so
sure
that's a
their
good
makeup.
thing. You had me lost because you were saying beat. I didn't know if you meant like she
Oh,
looked beat up. I didn't know. That's a good thing. I'm looking at a picture right now. I was like, damn, she's beautiful. So what did you mean by beat?
gorgeous. Oh,
Damn.
now her makeup be beat to the gods, honey. Beat to the the girlies.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay. Yeah. Boys here, but
sorry,
that's
coach.
okay. We got you. We following you.
Um,
I'm really, matchup I'm really looking forward to. Um, I haven't heard too many people talk about it yet, but I'm really looking forward to Paige versus Caitlyn. Like I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
mm,
I think
mm.
I can't wait for that one. Paige had 19-8 tonight, 19-8-5. So she really, the game slows down for rookies. Every level you go to, the game has to slow down. And to drop 19 in her second game, I mean, it's pretty good, pretty good.
And high key, like Paige, not a rookie though. Like high key, Paige played for UConn for ages. Like Paige had,
Again, words have meanings. She's a
there
rookie.
are no
This is her
more
first year
rookies
as a
anymore.
pro.
Anymore,
She's a
like on the
rookie.
men's game, like yeah, she's a rookie, but in my mind, like coming from a UConn, like you have so much experience. Like, and then okay, so even more than that, Paige is an older rookie.
It doesn't
Paige
matter. She's a
stayed.
rookie. Right? Like she has to earn her stripes. This is her first year. We're not changing terminology for her. She's a rookie. There's no and
True,
ifs. I don't care how many years she did at UConn. She's a rookie. First year playing pro, rookie.
but she don't play like no rookie. That's it. She not like
Has
her
nothing to
game,
do with it.
not
Will she
rookie.
will she win the rookie of the year?
Yeah, Paige
Then she's a
I
rookie.
think yeah, because and she number one. She number one out the gate from number one pick out the gate. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
want to
she's
see
a
what
rookie.
Madison does. I don't know where she is. The young lady from Old Miss, who's also another rookie. I got to figure out where she is, but I want to see where she is and how she evolves this year. The young lady.
Seattle won that game.
Yeah,
What was
Seattle
the
won.
final score?
It was. I think it was like a 20 point. Uh
I got it right here. 79-71.
oh shit, that was close as
Seattle won
hell.
it. Yeah, Seattle won it.
I
Skylar
know.
Skylar Dickens had 21 and 9 assists for Seattle. Um, ooh, I apologize, my Nubian queen, because I'm going to mess your name up. Um, Ogumeki. I know the
NECA.
baby girl. I just can't say
So
her name. Like I don't want you to think I don't know her, but I do know her. I just can't pronounce her name.
mm,
She had 23 points and 18 assists. 18 rebounds. Excuse me, in the win tonight
we
for
expect that
Seattle.
from
So
her.
Seattle looks like they're going to be a team to deal with. Gabby Williams added 17, 5, and 5. Um, so Seattle's definitely going to be a team to contend with come the end of the season, come playoff time, barring injury. What do you think about that, Coach? Oh, did we lose? I think we might have lost there. Like again, this has happened. This
I'm
is
here. You came in and out, coach.
oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I was saying that Seattle looks like they're going to be a team to reckon with this season.
Young fellas, y'all watch NBA ball at all?
What was that? You said, do we watch basketball? Do we watch women's basketball specifically?
Yeah,
Cause
I watch a considerable amount of
The women's
NBA and
basketball,
college
WNBA.
basketball, but like as far as WNBA basketball is concerned, unless it's like brought to my attention, I'm not really going out and seeking it.
yeah,
All right. So
I'm more.
this is a
Oh,
great conversation to have right here, Jada. I just thought about this. The other night, me and Jada J got into a heated conversation. What's going on? This Miss Huggins, how you doing? That's our number one fan right there, y'all. And we support her. You got to let us know. Are you still playing completely? completely off topic, but we have to give this young lady our flowers from our very first episode. She's been on every episode we've had, and she's given us a lot of love. We got to catch up, J to J. We got to get more information on Miss Huggins.
That's a full fact. I believe I hear it a YouTube channel, been in the YouTube game for a
Okay.
minute now. I'm trying to decipher who this is because I think I'm gonna tell you in the back chat. But Huggins, hit me up, fellas,
Absolutely.
coach.
So let me get back on track. I'm sorry, I got distracted by our
Where
get by
you were about to
our
take that? Where were you about to take that conversation with
yeah.
the young
So
fellas?
the other night we got into a conversation where we were talking about the WNBA and the best route for the WNBA to grow. I am a firm believer, right, that women have to become the number one fans of the WNBA for the WNBA to reach the success that it can potentially reach. I think that the question that we just asked to you guys is if you watch WNBA basketball. And we can tell from the response that the answer is no, right? And it's not a knock on the women's game. I think it's just as young men, you're going to be more interested in the NBA than the WNBA.
Yeah,
Could you
and
guys give us just a little bit of how you feel about that conversation right there?
it's kind of a problem with just marketing today in general. Just a lot of things are trying to sell a product to every single person in America when every single person in America isn't going to buy your product. Like the WNBA has to learn how to sell their product to little girls or like people who like women who play basketball. Like I like me, Jordan, and Trey aren't your target audience, and that's okay. But at the same time, like if you're not going to get us, you have to get somebody in order for the league to grow. Like you can't just the WNBA's selling point can't just be that it's the women's NBA. It has to be like you want to watch the WNBA because it's its own league. I like what they're doing now. Like when people are referring to the WNBA as the W, like I like that it had its own name
Own
independent of
title.
it.
Hmm. I try to refer to it as the W as much as
Yeah.
possible.
But
Trey, what's
guys,
your
this is what
opinion
I'm
on
saying.
that?
We've been calling it the W. We've been calling it the women
No,
that
exactly. But
been supporting it, the women
But that's
who've
not what we're
been there.
talking
Like
about.
there are little girl. Like so, just what I want to go back. Your son said that they're marketing to the little girls. Like it's little girls packed in the gym at the WNBA games. It's female athletes packed in the games. It's women packed in the games. But apparently that's not enough. That we still haven't had a profit for the league. Like like I hear what you guys are saying, but clearly that's not the answer for us because that's not helping us because
I,
there are so
See,
many
so
so many.
How many of those girls that are in that stadium were part of a package deal, right? How many of those girls that are in that stadium tickets were given to them? You see,
Because
so
like
that's
that
the
that
only
is
way they're
that is
getting
a
there,
big
though, coach.
portion of the WNBA
yeah, I
attendance. You
was
can't just base it off of what the stands look like.
yeah that and
so
also it's like is you if you only sell to your like obviously everyone isn't going to be your target audience, but you can't go too far in either direction. Like you can't only sell to your niche audience as well. Like you have to be able to
To
like
branch out.
there. I know. Like for example, I went to school. Like the girls team in my school was also like pretty. Like they won state. They went to the state tournament every year I was in high school. I could probably tell you one of them watched WNBA basketball because it's just not something people want. It's just not a good product that's being put out because the WNBA, the people who run the WNBA, as far as I know, obviously I'm not in those rooms having those conversations, but as far as the WNBA's main source of vitality is the NBA. Like they don't have their own. Like the W doesn't have its own like. Oh yeah, I grew up watching the W. Like the only people who grew up watching the W were like people who were y'all like who were like 30
Hoopers,
plus who were like playing basketball. Like there aren't any people who watch the
us
WNBA who never
hoopers.
touched a
Yeah.
basketball. Like people watching the NBA and have never touched a basketball in their life.
Jordan, you got something to say?
yeah, I do. Um, so I disagree with the statement that I feel like at one point that you could say that most of the viewer base of the WNBA was people just that people was a runoff from the NBA. But now I feel like within the past couple years, with honestly, it's I'm kind of have a bias because I'm from Louisiana, but it started with Angel Reese. Um, just in the past 2-3 couple years, the the fan base of the WNBA has not only grown, but it's changed and it's become something that's centered around the women's game. That accepts the differences between the women's game and the men's game, which is something that a lot of people struggle with originally when you're trying to get them to watch women's basketball. Now, me, I didn't get to say this earlier, but I do watch women's basketball, but I don't watch WNBA basketball. I have no problem watching college basketball, which brings me to my point. Everybody tries to come up with obtuse reasons that the WNBA it doesn't hasn't been this, hasn't been that. And I'm and this is not a great this is an uncomfortable conversation. The reason is because the product of not the product of women's basketball, but the product of the WNBA is lacking and has been lacking. It is
Okay.
just simply not that entertaining. It's not as it's better basketball, fine. If you look on the paper and you look at the logistics and everything, it is
Yes.
much better basketball being played than college basketball.
Yes.
But because of the in NBA basketball, the players are so athletic in college that it looks like they're just flying around the court playing football. So when they get to the NBA, that athleticism gets refined. It gives you a certain type of product that's different from the college sport. Correct. But in college women's basketball, they're not so athletic that it looks like they're just flying all around the place. So when they get to the WNBA and they're jogging around the court slowly, and you're sure this is good basketball being played, but that's what Jalen's talking about. That's something that's only being sold to people that play women's basketball. You can't try to get me, a person who doesn't watch women's basketball, to go turn on a college game and watch all these people doing all these moves and threes and the different type of basketball being played, and then turn on WNBA basketball and tell me that I have to sit here and watch these players put on the product that's being put on.
Right.
So
Because
I
the
just think it's not.
majority of professional basketball fans, right, are not basketball purists. They're going to the game and they're going to the game and they're buying the ticket, hoping to go see highlight plays. That's it. Alley oops, dunks, track run down blocks, right? Chase down blocks. That's what you have people like you guys said that don't play basketball, that have never touched a basketball, but they're going to the arena for those things. Right. So my next thing that I would ask you guys, Jada, do you have anything you want to add? Jada J?
Kind of, sort of, but I'm trying to get my thought together to how to ask the question because I
Okay.
think I hear what you guys are saying, and in my head, I'm understanding what everybody's saying, and I think I have a theory of why it can't work for us. Then, like according to what you guys saying, it'll never work for us. There's
I don't
nothing
think
we'll
that's
ever be able
correct.
to do.
I think the answer is again to me, lower the rim, right? Again, the ball is smaller. Why did we stop at the ball? Think about that. Why did we stop at just the ball? Why didn't we make the court just the men's court is 94 feet? Let's make the women's court 90 feet.
Nah,
The
because
basket is 10 feet for the
nah, 'cause
men.
it's not
Let's
about
make the
Now,
condition.
basket 9 feet.
while I do understand that does bring immense entertainment value and logistically that works, at some point we have to consider that is extremely patronizing to be
It's
trying to
not.
be.
It's not.
It
Because if
is
it is, then
though.
why
It
is the ball
is though.
smaller?
It's
Okay,
It
I
all
changed
understand
the
that. I can
ball
tell
being
you. I can
smaller.
tell you. Okay,
Ball
I can
Then
tell
tell
you
me
why
why.
that's patronizing, and now the ball being smaller is not patronizing. The ball being smaller is not patronizing because to dribble the ball, you need to be able to get your hand around it. So the ball has to be smaller for the girls to be able to
So
dribble
time out.
effectively.
So time out.
Hold
So
on, hold on, hold
ball
on.
is smaller
To
because
to
your hand
dunk
is
to
smaller,
ball
right?
to dunk. Hold on,
Okay.
but hold on.
Let me just
You're
rebuttal to what you said before you go to your next point, so we can stay on track, right? You
okay,
just
okay,
said that the ball is smaller
right.
because their hands are smaller.
Whoa. But you're missing the key word. Need. They need to for the ball to be
Why?
smaller. They
Why? I
don't
know
need to.
women don't. They don't need to.
Right.
Jada plays with a men's ball. She can play basketball with a men's
I
ball.
grew up playing with the men's ball. I
So
definitely
they don't
did,
need
but
it.
then
They don't need a
It
But
smaller
then,
changes the
ball,
but
game.
hold on, coach.
huh?
But then you change. But then in our games since childhood, our games, official games, we were playing with smaller basketballs. although we
Right.
were practicing with larger balls, it made us better shooters to practice with the basketballs, but we were playing our official games with the regular basketball. I mean, regular smaller basketballs for us since I want to say since I started playing in elementary school. That's it's always been that way for us.
Now, let me
So,
finish my point real quick. There's
yes,
going to be
sir.
a quick conclusion to my point, but the difference is it's found in the word need. You need to be able to dribble the basketball. So the proclivities that you proclivities isn't the word. The things you need to be able to dribble the basketball, the ball being smaller, that is required for the quality of the game that you're watching. Then, like for them to be able to dribble the basketball as effectively as the men do, the ball probably has to be a little bit smaller. You don't have to lower the rim for them to score the ball. You have to lower the rim for them to dunk it. But then you're saying that there's a part of the mid. You have to like. Do you understand the problem there? Like by
But
lowering the
you
rims,
just
you're
said the
you're
same thing with the
admitting
ball, though.
by low, but no, because you don't have to dunk it. You have to
You don't
dribble it.
have,
You don't have to
again,
dunk it.
women can handle the men's back. She just told you they play with
No,
the men's
what
ball.
Jordan is saying by saying that women have to dunk in order for the game to be entertaining is to say that the NBA will always
Ah,
be more entertaining than the WNBA just because we can dunk.
ah, I
But it
And
is,
see.
not only
but,
that, and not only
but it
that,
is though. But
but
it
and
is.
not only
That is
that, that's
that is
not
the
That
majority
is a
of the
fact.
reason why
However, it's
the
like
game is not watched because again, everybody is
it's
not a
kind of like.
basketball
Because it's
purist.
not entertaining to men.
It's
Because
not
it's not
entertaining.
entertaining
But
to you
here's the
guys.
thing. It's like it's like the old age old saying of like wisdom and knowledge. Like knowledge is telling you yes, the NBA is more entertaining because people can dunk. However, wisdom tells you you can't really tell the whole country that because they're gonna some part of your audience is gonna be like, I'm not gonna lie, I can't support that message. I can't lie.
like we talk about your see we're talking about making sure that women are that girls are the biggest fans of this sport. But if you take into account just the little comment that Jada made just now, she said, oh my gosh, I immediately forgot it when I tried to repeat it. She said something along the lines of like it has to be appealing to men, and just the fact that that's the thing that was implied. Think about the actual effects outside of basketball that connotation has. For WNBA basketball to succeed, it has to appeal to men. The men who want to watch people dunk the ball. That's what does that mean for the outside world? What does that point to the people? For the girls
Well, hold
that
on,
were
hold on,
trying
hold
to
on.
make
It's
hold
saying that
on
they
for the
can't
girls that were
put it.
trying to hold on
That's
for the
my
girls that were
fault.
trying to make hold on for the girls that were trying to make fans of this game. What does that imply to them about? Does that encourage them to go play basketball?
Mhm.
Is that going to give us more basketball players? That culture?
Okay,
Yes,
here's the thing
because
about that.
go
It's
ahead,
like
Jalen. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I get what you're saying, Jordan, but it's like you can't just say like us. All right, so here's the thing: men, regardless of whatever, like regardless of like how like the emotions. Obviously, there are things that are right and wrong morally, right? But men are still 50% of the world population. So at some point, you do have to sell the game to men. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
So lowering the rim, it's like lowering the rim and adding dunking to the WNBA would 1000% make the game more entertaining. However, it's like it's really is the only there has to be a certain way to go about it. Like you can't just it's hard to obviously it's like
And I guess what I'm saying is logistically and like on paper, everything you and Dad are saying makes sense about lowering the rim. It ups the entertainment value. It would bring more fans to the sport. This, that, the third. But you have to consider that. Like, think about the relationship between the NBA and the WNBA is a relationship between man and a woman. Irregardless of how right you feel you are logistically, you can't discount the feelings and emotions that are going on the other side because irregardless of how right you think you are.
But
I say this to say that even though all that stuff is true, uh, on some level, lowering the rims is a concession to some sort of failure or some sort of failure to provide exposure to the game that women have worked for however long to build up.
I
Because we have to
disagree.
change because you have to because
You
we
got to
have to
let somebody
change
else
it for
talk,
it to get.
Smitty. Come on.
Literally
You're right. You're right.
change
You're
the
right. You're right.
game.
All right. But I disagree. And I'm going to say I disagree because I'm around young women, and young women are excited about dunking just like boys are. But the reality of it is the majority of them know the majority of them know they can't do it because the
But
basket
they
is too high.
can. But they
So if
can.
you
Okay,
bring the
so
basket
Danny, hold
down,
on.
you are going to
Coach,
encourage. Hold on. You are going to encourage young ladies to want to go out. These young ladies want to be athletic. So if you lower the basket to 9 foot, and now, yes, I do have a chance to dunk it. That changes the female athlete, not in a way
or
where
you
you're
go,
saying it's all in the wording. Like the 10-foot basket is too hard for them to dunk. But if you lower the basket to 9 foot, now you're taking girls that we didn't even realize were athletic, and you're going to see how athletic they really are. Again, if the basketball is
or
smaller,
you,
and we know that a female athlete is smaller, then you're asking a female. Just think about the center position. You're asking a 6'5", 6'6" woman, right, to do what a 7-foot man does on a 10-foot basket.
a coach. But I know a 6'6" woman who did what a man did, blindfolded on a 10-foot basket.
But it's like
Hold
The
on, hold
numbers
on,
of
hold on,
women
hold
that
on,
can
hold on,
do
hold
that.
on, hold
Like
on, hold on, hold on,
let's
hold on, hold on,
let's be.
hold on, hold
So
on,
let's
hold
take the
on,
most let's
hold
take the
on,
most athletic female in the WNBA and put her in a dunk contest with the most
hold
athletic
on,
man in the
hold
dunk
on,
in,
hold
in
on.
the
Listen to
NBA.
what I'm saying to you. So listen to what I'm saying to you, because the W did a documentary on something like this. There was something on something like this. Candace Parker said herself. She went to, if we teach, and I'm gonna shout her out on this point. Coach Crawley literally told me this. Go to Coach Crawley to learn how to dunk. Boys, y'all are taught how to dunk early on tennis balls. Y'all are taught that shit. If we have more girls that go to women who know how to teach them how to build their legs up the right way, we can still do it. We can still do it. Don't take that from us and say that
Listen,
we got to drop
listen.
the rim
I
when
would
I know
also
there's
like
Okay,
to
so
people
note.
that done
tell
that.
me how many times in a half court setting there's been a dunk in a WNBA game.
Okay, and I would like
In
to
a
note.
half court setting. Tell me.
I'll tag. I'm gonna go look for the highlight reel, and I'm gonna
Find me
tag
how
it
many
on
dunks
here.
have
I'm gonna
happened
go
in
look.
the
I have
WNBA
it. I
in the
have it.
half court setting, meaning it wasn't a steal and nobody was down there in the breakaway dunk.
Oh,
Give me in a
on some
half court
downhill.
setting, meaning out of a half court set, there was a dunk in the NBA in a WNBA game.
I would like
But
to
Name me
Danny, you
note
one.
can't
that
be
the
mad at us
number.
that our bodies don't do that. Our
but
bodies
Again,
aren't
this
built
this is
like
what you're
y'all.
proving my point. Your
that's what
bodies
I'm trying
don't
to
do
say.
it. So
I
lower the
would like to
basket.
note. I would like to note. I would like to know that the amount of females who are dunking with ease is multiplying at a
It
staggering rate.
is.
And
This
this
is
is
what
the
I am
WNBA
okay.
saying.
So
race
hold on. So hold on. So
that
hold on. I
shit.
have a question.
Doing it.
There was a time during men's basketball where people weren't just going around dunking. There was a time where people probably thought that the type of dunking we see in the NBA today was impossible, that people couldn't do that. Barely anybody was dunking in the NBA. And now that we're seeing more and more female players like Dominique Malonga, she's dunking with ease. There are a whole bunch of players that are dunking with ease now. Why
Right.
are we not? What about the assumption that this is the trajectory that WNBA basketball will continue to go? Why is that not the assumption that's made for these
Does the
women
M-
that
All right,
it's
Because
going
the
to
does
women
so
continue
the
back
trending
then
up?
they told
WNBA
you
have
couldn't
another
dunk back in the
30
day.
years to evolve to that?
that's what I was about to say. Like, all right, so this girl Toby Fournier who plays at Duke. She like I've seen like she's dunking like she could probably like if there was someone to come off the screen and come down the lane and dunk, it would probably be her. But compared to the rest of the girls she's playing, like imagine if Derrick Jones Jr. could only rim grades. Like he's one of the most athletic basketball players you've ever seen, and he could only rim grades. You get what I'm saying? Like she's probably one of the most athletic women to ever touch a basketball, and her best dunk is a backstretch.
Hey
If the
guys,
But
goal was
also,
hey,
when
9 foot,
when
do
you
you know
say
what she
things
would be
like that,
doing? Like that would be a like what Dad is trying to say is like yes, the most athletic women in the game are continuing to dunk at a higher rate. However, like every player in the NBA can dunk. You get what
right?
I'm saying? Like on a 10-foot rim. If the W like that should be the standard for professional basketball. And then also
It's not that.
about lowering the rim. There's much more, like what Dad was saying about the little girls who want to dunk. There's much more to women's basketball than the WNBA.
Go ahead, let Trey go ahead. What were you about
Oh,
to
my
say,
It's
Trey?
not
And then
that.
J to J has something after Trey.
It's not that lowering the rim is disrespectful or anything like that. It's strictly the entertainment value. If you give children are sponges, if they see girls dunking, girls are going to want to dunk more. It's really lowering the rim. It's a what's the word I'm looking for?
Evening the playing field.
It makes it more. Thank you, Dad. It evens the playing fields out 100%. Yes, there, and it's not necessarily demoralizing. It's about how we package it. If you have to package that correctly. If you don't package that correctly, it's going to be this same split that we've been having for the last 10 minutes. It has to be packaged to way it looks friendly but realistic. Otherwise, it'll never change.
Okay, guys. So say we change that and we lower the rims, right? And we coming from college where we've played on 10-inch rims forever, right? Our whole career, right? So say the WNBA does. Hold on.
10-inch. I'm sorry. I'm petty.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So say the WNBA go along with that, right? Say they drop it, right? How much worse shooting percentage will go or drop because the rim has now dropped?
Not that much. Let me tell you why. Because very seldom.
Before y'all go back on that, just know that the women's game, there was a period in time that women weren't allowed to dunk, period, in the game. Like they literally told us in our rule book that we could not dunk, that we were not allowed to dunk. So I just want y'all to think about that too. Like, and we wanted to dunk, but they told us we couldn't. That's just another thing. But go, coach.
Like, okay, like in the state of Georgia, right? There's a rule, there's a law that you can't tie a giraffe to a telephone pole.
But right. Like, how many people do you know?
So them saying that women couldn't dunk back in the day, Rebecca Lobo, girls, they weren't dunking. The best players, the U.S. women's team, you had one person that was rim grazing, that's Lisa Leslie. Before then, women dunkers were not something that was happening.
That's what y'all saw. That's y'all didn't see.
Okay,
there was
all right.
Media.
I mean, that's what everybody saw, not just what. It's what everybody saw.
Come on, you wasn't even watching the game.
It's what everybody saw. I did watch college. I did watch women's college basketball because the WNBA is only 35 years old.
Charlotte Smith was
college basketball. There weren't dunks happening.
Charlie was dunking.
Okay, so we can fix all of this.
Brown
All we have
was
to do
grabbing
is
the rim. Like
Google women dunks. Google when were the first women basketball.
My stats not on the fucking on
the. You dunked.
To concur.
Time out.
Okay.
You don't
talk about my stats, period. My stats aren't there because y'all didn't care about it. Google whatever you want.
Who's talking about your stats?
You just said Google.
Dunking. Jada.
Coach, you just said Google. It's not going to come up because y'all wasn't paying attention to it.
I'll let you finish. Hold on. Let her finish.
How would it come up?
Okay.
You can Google whatever you want to Google. You can Google whatever you want to Google. If the media wasn't reporting it,
you have to let someone else. Are you done? Because right now you're getting emotional and you're talking about something that we're not even discussing. What I said was Google the first dunk in women's basketball. You can probably Google that. 9 times out of 10, if you Google, it will tell you who had the first dunk that was recorded in women's basketball. You probably can find that.
It was Coach Crawley's cousin in Ohio in high school. I don't know the lady's name.
So you sitting there telling me that, okay, regardless, I'm going to get back to the point that I was making, right? The young women are dunking the basketball at a higher rate than we've ever seen, right? We all agree on that, right?
100%.
The majority of dunks in women's game are during fast breaks, right?
Okay.
So imagine these young ladies that can get out on the break and dunk the ball like that on 10 feet. If you lower the basket to 9 foot, now these young ladies are catching bodies, bro. Now they're catching bodies because you're giving them a platform to really show their athleticism. You're really giving them that platform to now say, okay, I'm going to go to the basket and really take off and show my athleticism. In the flow of a game, I can't get past it. Again, we're saying that the basketball is smaller. Now, we made that adjustment because they are smaller.
Okay,
they're like I can't ignore the fact that biology says they are smaller than us.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think? This is to circle back on something that Jada said earlier. Do you think Simone Augustus would have been able to dunk if she played today? Or a player like Diana Taurasi, or a player like what I'm going
If
to
she lower the
say is
basket
when
to
she
9
talks
feet,
about when she's talking about, she said that thing about it's not being taught, and you said it's not being taught because they can't do it. But I
I
feel
never
like
said it wasn't being taught.
if we really, you didn't say that dunking wasn't being taught to women.
No, I said go to the women that are teaching the young girls how to dunk. Coach Sylvia Crawley that are teaching women how to dunk because she knows how to dunk off of one leg. Go to Candace Parker who are teaching the young girls who know how to dunk. There are women that are out there that are teaching girls how to dunk, teaching them how to lift so they can dunk, teaching them the right technique like you guys learned earlier.
But it's
I'm getting
like
ready. I'm getting ready to shut that down too as a dunker. Jalen, what's the easiest way to dunk? What is the first way that everybody starts dunking?
that's what I was about to say.
But
What's
I
the
y'all
first
are
way
swear to
that
not
everybody
God,
us.
starts dunking?
I swear
Huh?
to God, I woke up one day
Y'all
and
don't
started
have
dunking.
our
Like
legs.
I was just
Jalen,
trying.
what's
I
the way
was
that everybody
outside on this
starts
goal in
dunking?
this very driveway. I just kept trying
Hmm
to dunk. I kept trying to dunk. I kept trying to dunk, and then I dunked. There's
What's the
we can't
easiest way to
just.
dunk though? What's the way that everybody does? Everybody start jumping off of 1 foot or 2 foot or two
I
feet?
started.
Excuse
It
me.
was. I
Dunking.
started jumping off
The
one.
One
first
foot is
dunk
the
is usually
answer.
off
The
of what?
answer is 1 foot.
Is you
One
just
foot.
run, you run, and
Okay.
you try to
So
dunk.
again,
Like,
when we're talking about these women that are dunking off of 1 foot, how tall are most of them? 6'4"
It's,
taller. Am I wrong?
yeah, no, no, no,
No.
no,
Okay.
no,
So
no.
name
You're
me
not.
again, right? 6'4" taller. We're talking about a 6'4" person dunking off of 1 foot. Again, take Candace
Okay.
Parker and give her a 9 foot basket. Someone who has proven they can dunk on a 10 foot basket by herself with no one running the floor, right?
Okay.
And put her
I
on a floor where there's a 9 foot basket. Now she's really doing things that's going to change. But again, because you're talking about the entertainment, that is the difference between the NBA and the WNBA. The NBA is entertainment. That's why LeBron James will get on a fast break and they'll let him take 6 steps and travel because the entertainment is getting ready to take place. That is why guys get the ball in the NBA on fast breaks and they blatantly let them travel because they have to sell the entertainment. What part of a WNBA, and I love the game of I love the game of basketball. But if I don't love basketball and I just want the clickbait, I just want the highlight. I want to see the alley oop. I want to see the chase down block, right? That's what it's one. So again, if you lower the basket, the entertainment value goes up. See, there's a thing here. There's a thing here where we got pride, and we want change. We talking about that's insulting to no, it's not insulting. It's giving you a better platform to show you the athlete that you are. Right now, you're giving a male platform. It's just like training athletes. Most women athletes go to a trainer, and that trainer does not train them as a woman. They train them as a man. The woman athlete needs her own platform. So to make her say, we're going to make you 10-foot basket for the men, 10-foot basket for but we made the ball smaller. That lets you know right there. Why did we stop there? That's my question. Why did we stop at the ball?
yeah, that is one major thing. Like whenever people say you can't lower the rim, because it is like it's not like we can't modify the game, because modifying the game was never too far at this point. But like the rim is always where we draw the line. But I was to pivot from this. I was gonna say that another problem WNBA has is like when LeBron James was in high school, there was a short feature played before his game that showed a transition from Larry Bird to Magic Johnson to Michael Jordan to LeBron James, who was about to tip off a high school basketball game. I say that to say the WNBA doesn't build superstars. Like the Golden State Valkyries, the new expansion team, drafted 3 rookies and none of them made the team.
Mm,
But that
Like
has something to go back to. There's not enough teams to hold
for
the
sure.
talent. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like the goals are actually one of like obviously there's a list of problems the WNBA has to fix before they become like a international
but
league that people
we
watch
can't
them all
fix
over
it if
the
we don't
world.
got the money to get more teams. We can't fix it. We don't have the money to pay for more players. We can't fix it if y'all saying it's not
it
entertaining that we
feels
can't
like
get
that's
sponsorship.
what I was just about to say. It feels like the game of WNBA basketball has been backed into a corner from every direction, and then people like us, low key, like It's impossible to talk about the women's game without there being an inherent flaw in the conversation almost, because it's like we're talking about the women's game as it's backed into this corner, and then you back up from the corner and then you look who backed the game into it. It was us, and it was the generations before us who
Mm-hmm.
didn't include girls in the game of basketball, who didn't teach girls this, who didn't. So it's like, and now like at every single talking point about the WNBA from the WNBA's point of view is just like it's an almost, because how do you balance, we want to build superstars and keep these rookies, but there's also millions of dollars to make sure that my team wins this year, so I need veterans and I can only have this many players and there are only this many. How do you balance those two things? It's impossible.
Right. I agree with that because obviously you do have to win games. But here's the thing: the Golden State Valkyrie are an expansion team. I guarantee there are no expansion teams in the history of any league to ever win a championship in their first year.
Expansion teams aren't like they are in the NBA. Expansion team. We were talking about the Miami Soul and the Portland team earlier. Yeah, Portland. They started playing in 2002. They weren't good. They were going by two. They started playing in 2000. They were going by 2002. You don't have long. You gotta
But it
you
wasn't
gotta
about
do
the
it.
talent. Hold on, it wasn't just no back then. And still to this day about the WNBA, it's never about the talent of why these teams fold. It's the money and the ownership because the owners aren't making money. So prime example, Houston Comets, who were a dynasty the first 3-4 years of the WNBA, the
Mm-hmm.
team literally had to fold because the owners weren't making the money. The talent was there, we had the talent, but the teams and the owners just aren't making money from the W. The NBA has backed us since conception. Like literally, we are being the only reason the WNBA is afloat to this day is because of the NBA. The like the WNBA, when the WNBA started, the ABL was a league as well. There was another women's professional league called the ABL. The ABL played their players amazing. Their players was getting paid out the ass.
I don't. What do you mean amazing?
No, their players were getting paid way better than the WNBA players.
At the
Way
talking about at the ABL.
Yes, the ABL players. That's why the top talent didn't even come to the WNBA. The top talent of women's basketball was playing in the ABL at first. And then the ABL folded because the majority of their money was going to the players and the league just couldn't sustain. So there now you have all the top players now coming to the WNBA and now taking over like spots. And there from the beginning, like there never was enough to go around, which now trickled down 26 years later, where Isaiah Cook got cut, where Deja Kelly, who's a rookie, I'm sorry, she was with the Aces and kicked up her preseason game. Deja Kelly's a gorgeous young lady, very pretty, very like good at basketball. Kicked up, had a double or something like that, made the game-winning shot, and still got cut from the Aces. Like I said this, I went back to say this all again and say, I don't know how we're gonna win because either angle we came, like how are we gonna win? I don't see. I love the WB. I hope we're there. So many other young ladies could come play, but we gonna figure this out, y'all. We gonna figure it out. Thank you guys for y'all input. I love y'all. I love this, Danny. Thank you for your sons, you brilliant black men. I love this.
I tried.
Absolutely. That was a
I
great,
tried.
great conversation. Great conversation.
Yeah, sure.
Give me 1 second. Let me plug my laptop in before it dies on us. I just realized that it needs to charge. Give me 1 second. Keep the conversation going though.
I was
Okay.
thinking
Convers-
as that kind of like the theme that kept coming back to me, and it's kind of like a non. This is like the problem with the WNBA is more of like a problem with
Culture.
like society, sports culture as a whole, more than just the WNBA, and it's kind of in that, especially owners. The fact that you said owners, it's like there's this microwave culture that like expects things to happen within the first 2 years of like I was to like because earlier today I was sitting down. I went on YouTube and I was watching the 2010 finals with the Mavs versus the Heat, and it brought me back. Obviously, the Luka trade happened a while ago, as far as the NBA is concerned. But Could you imagine if the Mavericks traded Dirk after they lost in 2006?
Mm,
Like they're like I feel like in sports way too often nowadays we expect things to happen within like 2-3 years. Like that's not really how it
Incredible.
works. Like the WNBA is in year what?
thir-
This shit
35?
should be
Unless
nah.
it's like
Is it 35? I don't think we're at 30 yet,
Not that
D.
old yet?
I like how many teams were in the NBA in year 30?
Right.
Like the W like while I do like that the W is being like is growing in popularity, I feel like the eyes that are being placed upon it don't have the W's best interest at heart. Like the W isn't supposed to be the NBA, like the NBA's counterpart as of right now. Like that's not supposed to happen yet. That didn't happen for the NBA. It doesn't happen. That's just not how sports leagues work. So I feel
WNBA
like
is 29 years old.
that's what I'm saying.
29.
Like it's not
Ooh,
even 30 years old yet.
ooh.
Right.
Like this is just not how it's going. It's not how leagues have worked, and it's not going to happen that way for the WNBA.
Yeah, I think the WNBA. I mean, let's be honest. Like 5 years ago, all right, it was the NBA clearly at the top, priority for that business, for that organization, right? And then I couldn't really tell you that the G League wasn't getting more attention than the WNBA.
Nah,
Like
you
I
speaking
honestly
fact.
think they remodeled
You
the
speaking
G
fact.
League before they gave the WNBA the attention that it was
Yeah,
due, right? And again, I am a women's basketball fan. I coach high school. I coach girls high school basketball, right? Like I do watch women's college basketball. I probably watched more women's games last year than men's game, probably for the last 2 years, because we had that year where Caitlin and Angel dominated everything, right? As far as basketball, college basketball went. And then last season I was more into the women's game than I was the men's game. Um, the WNBA for me is always going to be it's a hard thing for me to be 100% behind right now because I don't really have an attachment to it, and I'm trying to develop that attachment, right? Like, for example, I'll talk about football. I don't have an NFL football team because I have no attachment to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm from Atlanta. There's no attachment there for me. I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan because I've always liked the Georgia Bulldogs. That red and black, that G on that helmet, I've just always been something that. So I have and I'm from the state of Georgia, right? I'm just not the loyal fan. I always tell my kids would tell you. I've always told them as athletes, we're not loyal to any team, right? Once we're done with our collegiate careers, we're not loyal to any professional team because a professional team is not loyal to you, right? The second you no longer benefit or are positive for that organization, they're looking to cut you, they're looking to trade you, they're looking to move you, right? So that's what I'm trying to become a fan of the league, not necessarily one team, and I'm working on that bridge, right? But again, I think that the fix for the WNBA, what the focus has to be for the WNBA, is on the floor, and it sucks because that entertainment value. That is why the NBA is where the NBA is because the entertainment value. But we have to. I think it's great that we've been on here for 40 minutes and we've given the WNBA the majority of that time. So I definitely want to applaud us for that and let you know that Jada, we are on your side, not against you, baby. We want to figure the problem out because we know that y'all deserve the platform, y'all deserve the money, y'all deserve everything that men do. Again, I'll repeat: in this country, there is no more in this world. There is no more dominant athlete than the American female athlete. The most dominant athlete on the planet is the American female athlete. Look at the Olympics. Look at whatever sport you want to look at. The most dominant athlete on the planet, I'm talking collectively, right, is the USA women's whatever. All right. Let's talk about the NBA. We didn't cover the NBA. We're in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals. They'll be taking place here starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, we have um, OKC versus the T Wolves. Jalen, let's start with you, man. What are you looking forward to in this series? I'm
um,
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Jalen. Hold on one second, baby. J to J, how are you feeling about this? See, we got to start with the woman. Then we got one woman in the group. We got to make sure we give her the respect she deserves. J to J, you start us off with that. OKC, Minnesota. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Ant Man, and Five. I'm. That's what I'm here for, y'all.
You got
Y'all
the
already know.
T-Wolves in 5?
Yeah. I'm no, just little Ant Man. I don't
Ant-Man.
know. Yeah, just. Oh wait, and Nas, because Nas from Jersey too.
Right, right, right. So we got one T-Wolves. We putting her down with the T-Wolves, whether she's with the T-Wolves. What you got, Jalen?
Yeah, I don't know because I saw the Thunder are a really good basketball team. They arguably the best team in the league. However, I saw what game is that we watched? That might have been game 5 that I watched. And the Thunder shot the ball so poorly. And what killed me about it
Mm,
is they wouldn't stop shooting. And I feel like a team like the Timberwolves, if you shoot like that against them, they're going to run you out of the gym. I don't know. Like I don't think I can't guarantee that a team that relies on perimeter, like obviously we've had it, we're 10, 15 years removed from saying perimeter basketball doesn't win, but at the same time, shooting doesn't travel every night. So like I'm
mhm.
not sure how the Thunder are gonna fare.
Absolutely. Trey, what you got?
I I wholeheartedly agree with Jalen. The Thunder look like one of the, if not the best team in the league, but they will shoot themselves out of a game. And we watched it happen with the Warriors, Timberwolves. Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards have no problem driving, kicking, letting Mike Conley hit 4 threes, letting Shea will put his head down and try to hero ball himself out of that game. Him and Jalen Williams. I watched him and Jalen Williams back and forth. That same game you're talking about, Jalen, game 5, 4 possessions straight. He'll put up a shot. No look. Miss. The I don't have faith. I think we're looking at a Timberwolves Knicks finals. I'm calling it right now.
Mm, okay.
Mm.
You
Ooh,
got a 6 seed advancing to
ooh.
the finals. Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. Jordan, what you got for us, baby?
Um, I'm gonna have to subvert the expectation here. I mean, y'all are people have been doubting OKC a lot of this year, even though they've been pretty much the consensus best team in the league. They've been getting doubting pretty much every series they've played in. Um, but like even now, we're talking about the OKC's poor shooting. Are we forgetting that like the Minnesota Timberwolves were shooting historically bad from the three
Mm,
point line against the Golden State
hey,
Warriors? Like they were shooting like horribly, and they were shooting a whole bunch. I mean, what was that? I can't remember what the there was a clip that was going viral of Ant like playing around on the court, and they showed the the 3 point percentage of the team, and it was like 7 for 49 or something. It was
mm,
horrible. They were historically bad from the 3 point line.
Yeah, yeah,
So and also I feel like at times Julius, like a lot of their players are very fickle. We know that Anthony Edwards shows up in big games, except when he doesn't. I'm sorry. Like occasionally, like if they're playing 6 games, 5 of them games he's gonna have 35, but one he's gonna have like 6. Julius Randle, great basketball player, and in some of these games he can really be a game changer. And in some of these games, he's a black hole standing at your free throw line that's
mm,
stopping the possession every time he touches it.
mm,
So it's it's a toss up with this team. Now, what can I say about this OKC Thunder team? Y'all were right. They will shoot at will and they will miss. But I'm not sure if the ball is going to stick too much. I'm pretty sure that my thing is that if they miss and they keep shooting, the next game, like they're going to be hitting again. We haven't seen a bad shooting stretch from this OKC team this playoffs. We saw a bad game against the Nuggets. The next game they came back, they got it back right. This team shoots the ball because they make open threes and they get open threes. And I feel like shooting's not going to travel every night, but it always travels for this team when it needs to. So I got the Thunder.
you got the Thunder. I I'm gonna hold on to my pick. I'm looking for a really good series. I think that you're talking about two young men that have a chance to become the face of the NBA, and the fact that they're facing off in the Western Conference Finals with a trip to go to the finals this early in their career. I love it. I think we're looking at a potential situation where we're looking at the next Larry versus Mike Magic, right? The next MJ
I
versus
like that.
Isaiah, the
I
next
like
Steph
that.
versus LeBron, that next rivalry that the NBA needs, right? When you talk about Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to be named MVP, he will receive his MVP trophy at some point during this series. And knowing Ant-Man and knowing where he's from, I kind of have an idea how he will respond to that, right? So again, when I think about the storylines that are ahead of us in this series, I'm super excited for it, right? You think about the bigs from Minnesota. You guys mentioned Nas Reed and Julius Randle. Nobody mentioned the big Frenchman, who's a great defensive player. But then you also have these
Didn't
long
you know, Coach?
uh, talls for OKC that can stretch the floor, like Chet and the big German, the black German, um,
Harden.
Harris,
Hartenstein.
yeah, Harris Stein, right? So I look at the matchup between Jaden McDaniels and Jalen Williams, right? Like you got two. Like I'm really looking forward to this series, and I honestly think the winner of this series will win the championship. But let's talk about who they will play for a chance to win that championship. In the Eastern Conference, we got the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks. Guys, you guys weren't around. You guys were living. Uh, you guys, not really, because I was so young at the time, right? But this series reminds me of the old East from like the '90s with the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bulls, right? And it's just so much fun to think that we're getting ready to get this see this series again. Um, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, obviously we know those two. Let's talk about other guys from the two teams. Let's start with you again, Ms. J to J.
I'm gonna always go with my Jersey head,
That's
son. I'm gonna
right.
always go with I'm gonna always go with East Coast, New York. Like I wasn't in, no, I was low key a New York fan by default, but shout out to Carl Anthony Towns, shout out to Papa Town, shout out to Jordan Wood. Like I love everything about that family. Carl came home in essentials. Like New York is home. Like how many times have we hopped on the train just to go to New York City, just to have pickup games at Harlem, at the Rucker, at so many other places. So I'm excited that Carl is home and he's turning up. That is all kind of coming together for him after he lost his mom, like who was such a key component in his life as a lot of moms are for a lot of people. But I'm just happy for that whole family. I'm happy for the Knicks. I'm happy for New York City. In reality, will New York pull this one out? I would pray they do, but let's see. Let's see if God love the Knicks this year. Let's see if God really love the Knicks this year. Let's just see.
I mean, yeah, the Liberty won it last year, right? So like that'd be back-to-back basketball titles for the city of New York. That'd be crazy. Trey, what you got on this series?
History repeats itself. This series depends heavy on like the wings. So the Mikal Bridges, the OGs, the Pascals, I personally, we both know Tyrese and Jalen Brunson. Great, great, great point guards. Cones on defense though, so they cancel each other out. Then you have Cat and Miles Turner, relatively the same type of big. They want to stretch the floor. They're not really going to bang down there. They'll get you 10 to 15 rebounds at the end of the day. This New York, in my opinion, has the better wings, only because I don't like Pascal because they beat my Warriors. That's complete bias. So I think New York comes out. Like I said, to reiterate, I think we're looking at Minnesota, New York in the finals.
Mm, okay, Jordan.
Man, um, I like this Knicks team, even though I hate watching Jalen Brunson play basketball. Um, I like the Knicks team. I like Karl Anthony Towns. I like OG Anunoby. I like players like Josh Hart. I like and I like the fact that a player like Josh Hart gets a lot of recognition playing basketball the way he does. But I actually am gonna have to take the Pacers for a couple reasons. First of all and foremost, you can't bet against Tyrese Halliburton. I don't know what is up with bro. He cannot hoop within the first. The first part of the game, he'll give you some assists. He's not going to score, but at the end of the game, you got to watch out for him. He's a crazy crazy basketball player, and a dude that does not get as much recognition as I think he should. Um, dude that goes by the name of Andrew Nimhard.
Mm-hmm.
Nimhard.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great basketball player and impacts the game in more ways than one. Defensively, this guy, he flies around. He really is a Josh Hart type player. These two teams match up very nicely. I mean, this is going to be a great series. He really is a Josh Hart type player. He affects the game in multiple ways. He can facilitate. He's great on defense. He pounds the boards. He does everything you want him to do. And these are just two teams that really play really fundamental and really play really hard. There are guys on these teams that are there just to get rebounds and just to play defense on both sides. So this is going to be a really interesting series. But I got the Pacers.
Hey Jordan, could you drop that name for me again, please?
Andrew Nimhard.
Bam, bam. What you got, baby?
I'm gonna have to trail Jordan on this one because I think this series comes down to how much better Karl Anthony Towns is than Miles Turner, and I don't know that I can trust Karl Anthony Towns in the conference finals. Like he's never been on a stage this big one, and obviously like he's an NBA player, so he's used to big stages. But I think like how Jordan said, how they match up very nicely. I think the Knicks calling card is like they're gonna play harder than you. They're gonna play harder than you the whole game, and then Jalen Brunson is gonna kill it at the end. But the thing about the Pacers is they do that, but I feel like they do it much better than the Knicks do. And they've also done it against better teams. Like the Pistons, like the Knicks beating the Pistons, like, yeah, the Pistons were a good team, but like Cade Cunningham is in what, year 5?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's not like they beat seasoned veterans. Like obviously the win counts. You can't discount wins, but I don't think the Knicks and then yes, they beat the Celtics, and I don't like to pull the Jason Tatum got hurt thing, but he did get hurt, and he had 40 in the game he got hurt in. You know what I'm saying?
In the
He
third
dropped
quarter.
40 that game?
Yeah, hold on, time out. He had 42, right?
In the third
When
quarter.
he went down. No, he had 42 in the fourth quarter when he went down. He finished with 42, right? The Knicks went on their run with him on the floor. They were mid-run where they opened the game up when he got hurt. So I believe if he would have finished that game, he would have scored 50, but they still would have lost because the Knicks answered them at every spot that night, right? Like he would have got 50, but I believe it would have been 50 in the L. And I would have preferred he went for 50 in the L and not got hurt. All right.
Yeah,
So there's a part of me that wish we would have saw that, but I think he would have put on a historic performance that night. But I think they were going to lose that game and the series. When you go down 0-2, it's hard to come back when you lose home court advantage. But I don't want to get distracted.
Yeah, I can definitely see. I don't think that Jason Tatum going down is the only reason the Celtics lost. I don't think that. But I do think that him going down, like, I think the Knicks would have had to play 7. But they beat them in 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks would have had to play 7 games against the Celtics had Jason Tatum played the game 6.
Right. And I'm glad I got right now, right? I think that when I think about the Knicks and the Pacers, right, and somebody that nobody mentioned yet, who's not a factor offensively, but is a huge factor defensively, and is going to make a matchup where I think you're going to see Pascal Siakam is going to have to guard Karl Anthony Towns, because Mitchell Robinson is going to guard Miles Turner more than Karl Anthony Towns is going to guard him, right? So I definitely think that this series is going to go 7 games. And I reserved my pick in the Western Conference, but I'm not going to reserve it here, and I'm going to go with the Knicks. And that is because they have Jalen Brunson. Halliburton is also a very clutch player. If the Knicks are close in a basketball game and that man is on the floor, I'm going to give them the chance to pull the game out because he's shown over and over again how clutch he is this season. So yeah, I got Knicks in the East, and I'm going to hold my pick in the West. All right, and this has been an amazing conversation, and we got 2 more topics that I really want to touch on before we get out of here. Having this opportunity to have my sons here with me, and this is the perfect opportunity to have this conversation. Let's start with the young man that his life was taken by the police, Mr. Hinton, Ryan Hinton, who lost his life a couple of days ago. His father then retaliated by running over a police officer and ending that police officer's life. I want to get your guys' feel. I want to ask you guys as young black men, how do you feel about law enforcement?
I I I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Grits and Eggs podcast. This dude named Deontay Kyle on Instagram. He has a podcast. He talks about this type of thing, and it's kind of, he said something interesting. He was like, I think black people spend too much time trying to find peace in it, like find where black people and white people are gonna hold hands and sing kumbaya. I don't think, obviously, that is the ideal situation, like everyone gets along, but I'm not sure that that's in the foreseeable future or something that I should be like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen, bro. Just wait on it. Like, I don't know if that's what we should be preaching to each other. I feel like, as far as law enforcement is concerned, obviously they're there to do a job, and I'm not saying all cops are bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like, as I'm going through daily life, the law enforcement is not someone I think I can count on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And kind of piggyback off of that, it's a black man's, especially a young black man's relationship with the cops is something that's taught to them subtly, overtly, just in general throughout their entire upbringing. It's something that people are going to sit down and have conversations with you about, or something you're going to see about in movies, something you're going to hear about on the radio. So through the types of experiences that young black men are predisposed to, it I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I love the cops, I love police officers, I see a police officer, I wave my hand. No, there's a negative connotation sort of around 12. Like, nobody likes the cops. Nobody likes the cops. But the thing is, taking a step back from that, you have to realize that disliking the cops actually doesn't accomplish anything, and that hatred, any action that springs from that dislike of the cops, is working backwards. So it's like it's another one of those impossible situations where it's like, how do I balance the fact that this I don't like this cop and this cop might not like me, or maybe I'm just perceiving that all in my own head, or maybe I actually, like, should I be scared? Should I be fearful? Should I try to find a middle ground? Like, it's a it's a gray area as it pertains to cops, because at the end of the day, your life is in their hands every time they drive past you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a very fine line to walk. So it's not really something I can go one or the other way on.
All right.
To,
Go ahead,
to
Trey.
touch on what Jordan said, it's as a as a black man in general, there's definitely a level of caution that we're always taking, especially our age group, with the things that are said on the internet or the things that officers may perceive because we may look a certain way or we may talk a certain way. It's a When it comes to police officers as black men, it's really just a pick and choose kind of thing, because there's no way to guarantee that this is one of the good ones or that this is one of the bad ones. You kind of just gotta flip that coin and hope for the best. There's definitely ways that we were taught, us three in particular, from you, TT Gamey, our moms, that like prepared us for these situations. But there's still that what's the word I'm looking for, Jay? There's
Uncertainty.
that uncertainty of like, what if he's having a bad day and I'm the one he decides to take it out on?
Right.
So it's like it's like they both said, it's hard to really just have faith in what's been implemented to protect us because of what we've seen through different mediums.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a quote K Dot for a second here. I'm gonna read some lyrics from one of my favorite K Dot songs. It's called XXX or Triple X. And I'm gonna start in the middle of a verse. He says, "Yesterday I got a call, like from my dog, like 101. Said they killed his only son because of insufficient funds. He was sobbing, he was mobbing, belligerent and drunk, talking out his head, philosophizing on what the Lord had done. He said, K Dot, can you pray for me? It's been a fucked up day for me. I know that you're anointed. Show me how to overcome. He was looking for some closure. hoping I could bring him closer to spiritual. My spirit don't know better. But I told him, I can't sugarcoat the answer for you. This is how I feel. If somebody killed my son, that means somebody getting killed. When I tell you I stand with Mr. Hinton Jr., because if somebody were to touch one of mine, I'm not marching. I'm not singing. I'm not holding hands and saying kumbaya. Exactly
Yeah,
what Mr. Hinton is going through right now, what Mr. Hinton Jr. is going through right now, I'd probably be going through the same thing. And just like when them 30 cops tried to intimidate him in the prison, in that courtroom, and he shrugged his shoulders and lifted his head up, that would be me. Because the day of them taking our babies out and us just saying it's okay and marching and that day is gone. And that's essentially what my son just said to you, right? Like, and this is how it sucks that this is what it's come to, but what have we what are we really doing now, right? So as a again, I've said this as a 41-year-old black man who's no felonies, no misdemeanors, none of that. I still get nervous every time the police get behind me. I still get nervous every morning when I wake up thinking and praying that none of my beautiful black kings have to have interaction with the police. And I understand policing is a hard job, but if you're scared, do something else. The fact that a young man has black skin, dreads, and is over 6 feet tall should not make him wanted. And sadly, that's what it is. Um, so I want to piggyback on that while we're on this topic. Again, just how do you guys feel about this country? How do you feel about the president of the United States, Donald Trump, and the state of this country right now?
yeah. So I talk to people about this a lot. It's kind of like, well, all right. So first, I'm gonna talk about race relations because I feel like that kind of is kind of closer to what we were talking about at first. I also feel like black people as a collective, we need to stop. We need to stop selling the struggle as what blackness is. Like when a white person posts on the internet and does something that you also did because you grew up in poverty, that person is not invited to the cookout just because they were also broke. That's not how it works. And I feel like that's part of the the yeah, like that's part of the group of the black community who was trying to who believes that one day everyone's gonna hold hands and sing kumbaya. And obviously, again, that's the ideal situation. I'm not saying I'm a separatist or anything like that. However, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic about what America is right now and what it has been. And and following that is, I don't think obviously Donald Trump is a terrible he's obviously not. If I was ranking the presidents, he wouldn't be one, obviously. However, I don't think America, like I feel like because of social media, it's easy for people to panic and be like, oh my God, the world's about this. I feel like there have been worse presidents, and there could down the line be a worse president than Donald Trump is right now. Like we had a president that took us off the gold standard for no reason. Like I feel like it could be worse, but obviously it's not great. But I'm not. I get maybe, and this also might just be my immaturity speaking because I'm 18. Like it really doesn't affect. It affects me to an extent, but it doesn't affect me as much as it affects other people yet. But like as far as I'm concerned, it could be worse, and it has been worse. So I feel like we'll make it through this next 4 years. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I feel like Donald Trump isn't the problem with America, but he's a symptom of it. He's a symptom of the problem with the. I feel like this was a perfect year for Joe Biden to drop out and for Kamala to run because it really represents it really painted a real clear picture of what the real issue with America is. And the real issue with America is the rejection of intellectualism in favor of group thinking, in favor of masculinity, in favor of pride, in favor of greed. And just the perfect example of this is that it was this year, if you were voting, if you had done even a lick of research, if you knew anything about the candidates, if you had looked at rallies, and it was impossible for a person to sit down on their couch and list out everything about the two candidates and say Donald Trump is a better candidate for this presidency than Kamala Harris. I feel like the way that the election played out was a perfect, like, it was almost like a piece of symbolism in a book for how America, the problem with the population of America right now, the fact that a whole that we watched on the internet a collective group of people choose to be friends with each other than to better the country. Like, they literally were just at the rallies talking about not politics, drinking, saying buzzwords for the entire campaign, and this dude won because he was white. And we had a great candidate, perfect, like, logically the perfect candidate, but she was a black woman. So that was it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't care. So I just feel like the like as a like it's a very simple problem. It's just that, like, America doesn't think anymore. Like, there are so many things going on that are just purely illogical. Like, it's like there's no other explanation for it than purely illogical. Like, or like that, like, people are being lied to, but like they're pulling the wool is being pulled over your eyes, but like it's a it's see-through almost, bro. Like, it's not like they're not this isn't a CIA super operation. Like, it's very clear. Like, people are just stupid. So I don't think it's like a huge problem. I just think
Yeah.
people are really dumb.
And I would even take it a step further to say, like, even like the act of voting has become too group minded. Like,
Mm.
obviously, everyone who has the ability to vote should vote. However, your friend who didn't vote is not your worst enemy. Your worst enemy is the member of the electoral college who you submitted your vote to, and he voted for somebody else. Like,
What I've learned over these last few elections um, is that most people forgot what we learned in school when it comes to the three branches of government, when it comes to how the election actually works, right? Like, I realize more and more every year when we get to the election, a lot of people don't really understand how the president is picked. They still think that we actually pick the president.
yeah,
And that's not the case, right? Like,
take
our
time.
most powerful votes come in our local elections, right? When you're picking your representatives. Most people skip those. Most people don't pay attention to the midterms. And I'm included. Again, this is me sitting back and watching and paying attention, right? Like, this year, I've made it clear. I voted in the last election, but I voted in the last election out of fear, right? So now I made a clear, decision that when this next cycle starts, I'm going to pay attention to who's running for local office here in Montgomery County where I live, right? Like, that's where that is made. We don't get to choose the president, right? We vote. Our votes go to the electoral college. The electoral college picks the president. Then you got to get into super delegates and all of that stuff. Don't feel bad that you didn't vote last year. Last year was the first time I voted in my life. It was the first time. I'm 41 years old. This last election was the first time I voted ever. And I was voting for more than just myself, right? I wasn't just voting for myself. I was voting for other people that I care about. But Donald Trump, to me, represents, and I hate to say like white people, because you can't group all white people together, right? You can't group all of one race of people together. But Donald Trump was white supremacy's, I'll say it that way, was white supremacy's last haymaker, right? To talk to you guys, all you guys know, I've always loved combat sports. Over the last few years, the UFC has become more of my sport than boxing, right? And we're going to start bringing that summer coverage to you guys here on Mayjor Mindset. But Donald Trump was the most dangerous a fighter can be, right? Is right before they're about to get knocked out. because the other fighter is pressing to go ahead and finish the fight, and that window might be available, and they throw that haymaker. That what that is what Donald Trump is. He is white supremacy's haymaker, right? When they start talking about, oh, well, we want somebody who's not a politician to do politics. Wait a minute. I wouldn't go to my dentist and ask them to cut my hair, right? I wouldn't go to my mechanic and say, hey, man, give me a chiropractic adjustment. Doesn't make sense, right? Like, but this is what they've done because they're scared. They realize that, okay, yeah, I get immigration is something we got to deal with, but whether you deal with immigration or not, the majority of people in this country in 30 years are going to be brown. There's no way you can avoid that, right? Like, we're already headed that way, whether they're Latino, African American, or like us, both, right? Like, whether they're Indian, like Native American, or from India, whether they're Asian, right? In 30 years, the average American will be brown. And that terrifies those white supremacists because that means that little Sally and little Johnny are going to have the same starting line as you. You know what I mean? They no longer have that gap where they have that head start. That is what all this is about.
And I also feel like at a certain point, they like you like obviously everyone's heard of the term like a come to Jesus moment. Like at some point, people in those rooms have thought like, man, we've been treating these people pretty poorly, and at some point, we're gonna have to reap what we sow. I mean, we're gonna have to reap what we sow. Like at some point,
That's not the case
there's
though, right? That's their fear.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
at some point, they're like, oh man, if we're a minority, what are they gonna do to us? Because we've been doing some pretty messed up things to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's in like that's what when the conversation of civil rights comes up, you always hear there's always kind of like two sides to the story. There's the Martin Luther King, there's the big kumbaya, and there's the Malcolm X. This it can't go on like this. You know what I'm saying? And every time it gets to the it can't go on like this side of the spectrum, people start talking about a revolt, an uprising, the really far side on that side of the argument. I think about Bacon's Rebellion. I think about the first time that I think about way back when all those slaves revolted in that place, and that I think about how immediately after it became legal, like literally like immediately after Bacon's Rebellion, it became legal to do whatever you wanted to any black person anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And and every time I think about this history, there's a reason we learn history. It's because it repeats itself.
Yeah,
It's because if there was a big uprising, a big revolt, sure, we might the first couple days, the first couple weeks, maybe even the first couple months, years, it would be great. But at the end of the day, for the foreseeable future, until that fear that those white people have is founded, and that number levels out a little bit, and they're closer to being we're less of a minority, it's closer to being a full melange, then then we can have that conversation about it can't go on no more. But there's a long time
Did
because
you say a fool what? My what?
melange mix.
Awesome.
That's an awesome word. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
SAT.
That's awesome.
Jordan
yeah.
said something earlier. He said, um, I can't, and it slips my mind, but how it automatically made my mind think how quickly they don't want to teach us. They can't teach us the history. How quickly DEI has been removed.
Yeah, they're working hard.
Yeah.
They're working hard to remove
yeah.
that.
Extremely how certain books cannot be read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about a revolt. I was more saying things like there like there's somebody's like my white friends. I'm not talking about anyone. My white friends my white friend's grandfather is had at some point in his mind during his process when thinking about how black people have been treated in this country, some part of him is like, I wonder if they're going to teach my grandkids about Christopher Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Which they
it's
still are
more like
teaching that bullshit.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's more like they're worried about how it's not even about a vote. It's more like they're worried that they will no longer be an even playing field seems like you've been punished when you've been above everybody else forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it really is fear of punishment.
I'll give a perfect example on that, and then I want to switch over to a little bit more cheerful conversation. But the kids in my classes, right, the gym classes, every few weeks I would go get candy and give out candy, right? And then I started realizing the kids were entitled. They started, where's the candy? We want candy. Oh, well, all right, no more candy. Now the kids feel like they're being punished because I took the candy away. But the candy was a treat that I decided to give you from me, right? The school's not saying I got to do that. Nobody. This is something I was doing for you. So now they feel like because I said I'm
Hey,
not
fellas,
doing
is
it
that
anymore,
Coach?
they feel punished,
Is that me or is that
right?
Coach?
And that's a perfect
Seems
Nah,
like
example of
coach.
everybody's
what you're
he's
saying,
first.
Jalen. Is that because the playing field's going to be even,
Yeah.
now they feel like they're being punished. All right,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Awesome conversation, guys. Awesome conversation. Awesome, awesome conversation. I want to switch topics one more again, because I have
Hey, Jordan, is it
I mean, it's lagging
a
pretty bad right
collegiate
now.
athlete,
I can see if I turn.
on here, collegiate athlete. Yeah, can you hear me? I think it's everybody right now. I think something's going on. Uh-oh. We're having some technical difficulties. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got to ask Papa what's going on with the Wi-Fi.
Hmm. Dude, my thing not working. What make you think my thing working? No, because y'all coming here like y'all finna mob me. Mob what? But it isn't.
Uh-oh.
If ands were butts, you know what I'm saying? If ands were butts.
Come on, man.
If ands were butts.
I don't know what's going on. Are we back?
I am. Uh, I'm getting.
Come on,
I can
fight
hear
for us. We're
you.
doing good today.
I'm here, guys. Is Coach here?
Hey, get back to y'all spots, man.
All right, you working on?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I love it, guys. We're live. This is live production. Don't judge our lives, media. Don't judge us. We here. We giving y'all great content, great conversation from great minds. Major mindset pod here live on all platforms, guys. Please follow us. Follow the young men that's in the room as well. Coach Peanut, thank you for sharing your amazing sons with us. Thank you for sharing your lineage and your legacy with us, sir.
I returned. I don't think my father has returned yet.
No worries, fellas. So, Coach did want to just I know in the in the show notes wanted to get your opinions on we talked Donald Trump, we spoke politics, and being a young man in America. Are we there? Check, check. One,
You
You cut
cut
two.
out
out
at the important
back
part of the sentence.
here for
Yeah,
a second.
you cut out at the very, very end.
Neither here or there, guys. Let's until Coach comes back in to go back in and be able to pull that energy out of you guys. I want to know on another note, right? And this was completely off of sight, of not even on the record. We didn't even talk about this. Question for you guys: did you guys see Sinners yet?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, can I get you guys, please get you guys thoughts on this
I think
I
movie?
would have went outside. They would have got me. If she would have came to that door looking like that, talking about something come outside, I'd have been like, yes, ma'am.
nah, but I like the movie. I think it was a cool movie. But as far as Ryan Coogler, like the director, as far as his message was concerned, I feel like he had things that he wanted to say, but he was scared to say,
Yeah.
and it hurt the message of the movie. Like
The
I think
overarching message
it's not. It's
wasn't.
like it was like all right. So there, everybody knows the scene where they were all in the juke joint and like the different eras of music all were like meshed together at one time. I think that if he really wanted to send that message to young people that he was trying to that like that to try to tell people that rap was just try to tell people that rap was originated from blues. I think he should have went to the point of trap music came from blues. Like I don't listen to 80s DJ music. Like that doesn't matter to me.
Not at all.
But if
Talk about
like
mixtape era.
that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't want to go as far to make the point because he didn't want to lose the older audience. Like he was scared to say what he wanted to say all the way because he was scared to lose the greater audience, which I understand because he has to make money. But
From
as
a money
someone,
standpoint, it makes
yeah,
sense.
but as someone who's like watching and trying to like understand what he's trying to say, I felt like he kind of shortchanged us.
Because it's hard for
Oh,
that's the thing with a lot of like movies with those type of messages. They're trying to reach both age demographics. It's really hard to reach both age demographics. There is a overarching beef between the two, the Unk and the YN. There's an underlining, very quiet beef that's been happening for years. They hate us. Why? Who knows? But it's really hard for directors, just artists in general, to get those because you're either gonna hit the nail right on the coffin for one age group, one demographic, and completely miss for the other. So it's like you said, like we seen the message, and it's like, okay, cool, but that message definitely could have hit home for us and our age demographic way harder than what it actually did. But overall, it was a great movie.
okay. So how do you guys feel like he could have? How do you feel like he could have incorporated it more, like just in that one
I don't.
scene?
Well,
I feel like one, it shouldn't have been a vampire movie. I think it being a vampire, I hated the fact that it was a vampire movie. He should have made. I said this earlier. He should have made if he was one, I don't like black trauma films in general because it's kind of it's not obviously it's not over. It's like it's not played out, but like it does get to a point where we've seen so many black trauma films, so we're like,
especially
how many times
us
are we gonna
in
do that?
particular. Like that's a really big genre for our family. They like it,
but it's also like if he wanted to make, he could have, even in that scene, if there could have just been a dude wearing shades and had with dread, like nobody, like obviously the people looked like us because they were black, but nobody looked like me. You get what I'm saying? Like there wasn't anybody with dreads and tattoos and piercings. Like obviously the people looked like me because we shared the same skin color, but they didn't share the same culture as me.
Yeah, like I think from a strictly like I'm majoring in business administration. I have a minor in film. So from a film standpoint, the movie should have been left open ended. Meaning it should have been the movie shouldn't have been left open for interpretation, but the movie should have been left open in the sense of where he can continue telling this story or similar stories and still tie them in together. Because Ryan Coogler, he had his own he had a black owned monster verse in his hand that he just didn't capitalize on. So it's like
Okay. Now, y'all have made y'all's points about the movie, specifically Jalen's point about the movie. We've talked about this before. Um, and now I would like to make my conjecture about the movie. Now, to preface this, conjecture, and I use the word conjecture often, as you can tell, and I use this word because it implies that I have an incomplete basis of information. I do not know everything about. I have not seen the movie yet, but I know a considerable amount about the movie, and I am seeing this movie from a different perspective as my other two brothers. As they mentioned, one of their but two business majors, and I mean a business major, a business and film major. So they're worried about, Trey's talking about that the movie should have been open ended. Jalen's talking about this, that, the third, about how the movie could have better represented what it was attempting to represent. I want to be a psychology major, so I'm thinking about this movie from the way that it affected the public, the reactions I've seen to the movie, the reactions I've now, even though Jalen has said that he doesn't see himself in the movie, you have to consider that we're not watching the movie from the perspective of every black person. We're watching a movie about the Deep South as two people who've lived their entire life in the Deep South. Yeah, we're gonna watch the movie and be like, that's not what the Deep South is like. If you are, every single welder on TikTok goes on TikTok and it's like, your welds aren't as good as mine. I don't weld like that. We understand. We know how that works. But from the way this movie affected the public has been overwhelmingly positive and has created conversations, and it's created conversations that films for the past for a couple of decades have failed to create. Like this movie creates the same conversations as a movie like Paid in Full. This movie creates some same conversations as a movie like American Gangster. Like this movie creates conversations about the existence of black people as a whole. And I feel like it was left open ended, but I feel like it was left open ended not from a plot perspective, but from a theme perspective. Like there are multiple. Like some people watch this movie and say that this movie is strictly about African religion. That it's an entire story about African religion. That Delta Slim and Mama and all of these different characters are supposed to represent different African spirits. Like there's so many. This movie was open ended, and I feel like it just created so many good conversations, and that's why it was needed in the culture and in the space that it was created right now. Especially as a vampire movie, it does a great job at subverting the expectations of a traditional vampire movie. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that 100%. But I just think again, it's like, who is it? Obviously, but like you said, how you mentioned Paid in Full, like that age group, like that demographic had their generational black film. If the film was supposed to be for us, like I keep saying this, and obviously, like I can only say it so many times, but again, how many kids are even in the scene that we saw? with all the generations of like how many of the artists that you saw that like were featured that were supposed to represent a generation or a time of music look like a rapper you've ever listened to. Nobody looked like Future. Nobody looked like Young Thug. Nobody looked like Lil Baby or Young Boy. Like I've never been in the club in the '80s. I wasn't alive. Doesn't matter to me. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like no one looked like yes, those people were black, so they looked.
They did give us that twerk, this stripper
I can't
twerk
get into clubs yet. I'm 18.
Okay, and I will say, if all they're gonna give us, if you're trying to represent,
ball.
if you're gonna represent the trap and all this, and all you're gonna give us is some twerking.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like like if you were gonna go, if you were trying to convince me of something, like you were trying to convince me, an 18-year-old, that the blues or that the rap music that I know and love today originated from the blues, you should have said something about trap music.
The mixtape era,
You should have said
SoundCloud
something. Yeah, you
era.
should have had a dude outside by cornbreads giving out mixtapes. You should have had a dude out there with both hands in his pockets with shades. He was trying to sell something like that. Like nobody in the movie, like the people look like me because they're black, but nobody looked like the kids or the grown folks I saw growing up. We were like it doesn't relate to
But
me
what if they're
because
not
it's black.
supposed to look like you? What if they're supposed to look like your ancestors?
I know I
What
get
if
that,
they're
but I'm saying if the movie was supposed to like I'm saying they didn't sell the point all the
Ah,
way. Like they sold it to the extent where it's like, oh yeah, we get like this is
Our
where we come
history is
from. But I'm saying
important.
like we've seen all of these movies already say this is where we come from, but where are we now? Like how would this correlate to what I'm going like what I'm living in
Today.
2025?
But and then that's where I come back to the movie is left open ended thematically because you're saying that the like if the movie was supposed to portray where we were versus where we are now, then why doesn't it do a good job of portraying that then? But like some people would say that the movie isn't portraying that at all. You know what I'm saying? Some people
right?
like that's what you're seeing in the movie and you didn't find a conclusion to that in the movie.
I think
With that being said, I will say that it's pretty obvious that that's one of the clear that if you're going to sinners kind of back themselves into that plot that when you have some girls twerking and a DJ, but that can't be a. I feel like the scene that everyone talks about the where it's everyone dancing in the jukebox room with a woo woo woo. I feel like that scene specifically is is if you were gonna try to use an example of how the movie failed to reach on the deeper theme points, it would be like that a lot of the things you see in that movie were like completely one off. Like why were they were like a whole bunch of different cultures dancing in that room that were not revisited at all during any other point in the movie. Like they were entire like it didn't make it was just like a random scene thrown in the middle of the movie that didn't have any literal connection to the plot of the rest of the movie. But that circles back to how the
no, it
connection to
did
the plot
though.
of the rest of the movie
It did.
is left
It
open ended.
it had
That's what
connections
I'm
to
saying.
the
Like it had
characters
the
that was there.
thematically,
Like
it did have a connection, but like that's open ended. Like thematically isn't plot. Like not every single guy can see that. Like that's up to your interpretation at that point.
and I also just didn't like how the movie was paced. Like I feel like the that moment of the movie where that Navajo dude came up to that lady's door and knocked and asked for Remick to try to get him outside was much more instrumental to what Ryan Coogler was trying to say than it came
In
across as
5 to 10
because it
minutes of
was
the movie.
10 minutes into the movie. You know, like no one remembered that part. But when you finish the movie, you think, "Oh my goodness, the person who warned us about who these people were, was the first person to be abused by this group of people." Like the Native American tried to come and warn you that this white man was dangerous and you didn't listen, then he came and did it to you.
Two, because he already did it to my people.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Then he came and did it to you
Hmm.
as
too.
well.
But that was so far back in the movie, no one even pays attention to that. We're talking about the jukebox scene. I mean, the juke joint scene. You see what I'm saying?
But even that, like I feel like that makes sense thematically. Like I feel like thematically, if you're gonna talk about the fact that the Native Americans weren't listened to, you also have to talk about the fact that their story has been buried and forgotten. Like you the
That's
a
fair.
lot of authors, they're a large example of authors, for example, William Faulkner, for example, Toni Morrison, who use the order and the structure of their literary works to create theme, the order in which the information is given to you. The Native Americans, that extremely important part of the movie being buried deep into the movie is paralleling how in real life this extremely important part of history is. How many times have you looked at your struggle as a black person and thought, wow, a lot of Native Americans have this exact same struggle and have been led to this. Like, think about like Native Americans were also slaves and forced out of their place. And now think about how over the years there have also been, we talk about how there's been litigation and structures in place to keep African Americans down. All of that is also true for Native Americans. But how many times have you, as a black person, considered that?
No,
Never.
I get
I
what
get
you're
what you're
saying with
saying.
that, but it's like how you said the theme, like is thematically the movie is open ended. It's irresponsible as someone who's trying to portray a message to leave it that open to interpretation. You see what I'm saying?
I
Like
also
there's
think
there's a,
that's a I also think that's a test of our generation's attention span. I think Ryan I think putting that tidbit of information so early in the movie
Ah,
is to kind of, bro, our generation don't critically think at all, like realistically. So I think something like that is to both of your points. I think y'all are both correct. I think it's just for coming, well, leaning more towards your side. I think that's just a testament to our attention spans. Where yeah, that part was really pivotal, crazy, really
Sounds
pivotal,
good. I don't know if it's a word or not, but sounds
right?
good.
Right. It's all about the confidence of how you say it,
Hmm.
but that was pivotal,
it
but
sounds amazing.
it's not as important as, like you said, that being that one minute part or the overarching message behind, like Jordan saying. So I think it's just, I think, like you said, I think it's open ended. It's open ended. The movie's meant to be interpreted open ended. How you want, take it, how you see it.
Absolutely. I haven't seen the movie, and I think this is a great conversation. One more time, again, let me remind you, 'cause we've been going for an hour strong now. This is Mid-Major Mindset. I'm one of your co-hosts, Pinot. J to J is here. We got three brilliant young men that I'm so proud of. Uh, my sons, Jalen, Jordan, and Trey, are joining us tonight and have done a great job in this conversation. And we're not done. This will probably be our longest episode so far, J to J. I don't think we're anywhere near ending right now, and I think we're watching the birth of probably another
Oh, I'm with
podcast.
it. Come on, let's go.
I'm thinking, the Pinnock Boys or something is coming, to the airways at some point. I think we're seeing the birth of
Yeah,
that right
let's
now.
go.
Um, I want to say this about the movie, right? Again, I haven't seen it yet. I'm 41 years old. The only other black vampire movie that I can think about is Vampire in Brooklyn, which is a comedy. So this
Yep.
is
Oh
also
no, no,
genre
no. Hold on, hold
breaking.
on. Well, it wasn't black.
What was that?
We had Queen of the Damned. We had Queen of the Damned with Aaliyah,
Queen of the Damned.
but it wasn't black featured.
Right. So, yeah, I
what is
think Queen of
drop?
the Damned had more of a Latino feel, did it not? I'm trying to remember Queen of the
No, no.
Dam. I
Queen
gotta
of the
Google that
Damned
one.
had
I gotta
more
look
of
that one
white.
up.
Queen of the Damned
Okay.
and Rice. Queen of the Damned. It's a Vampire Diaries universe. I'm seasoned, guys.
Oh,
Don't
that's the
judge
one
me.
with
And Aaliyah
Aaliyah
was
was
my
in it.
big sis in my head, but we had
I
that.
remember Aaliyah was in it. Yeah, that was like early 2000.
Yes,
Yeah,
Aaliyah played. Yes,
Aaliyah was the lead vampire. Yeah, the director wasn't black.
I'm
The producer,
seasoned,
what I'm saying?
Daniel. I
So,
mean,
yeah,
you stop
No,
playing
you're
with
right.
me.
it
The
had a little
film was
sprinkling
genre
in there, but
breaking.
it wasn't. So, and again, not seeing the movie, right? I think Jalen, you make a very valid point about the Indians, the Native Americans, at the beginning of the movie trying to warn, and then you mentioned the juke joint, right? Which the juke joint serves um, several different. What's the word I'm looking for, y'all? I was getting it's 2 in the morning,
Purposes?
almost 3 in the morning.
Purpose?
Uh, yeah, serve different purposes, right? Back in the day, the juke joint would be the juke joint Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning they would come in there and have praise and worship, right? But I think to me, from hearing what you guys are saying, the juke joint is probably representing distraction, right?
Yes.
That's why it's a juke joint. And they're shaking ass, dancing, all of that, right? But it also was a sanctuary for some people. It saved a lot of people, right? The juke joint did back in the day. Again, we come from a small little town in North Carolina called Maxton, North Carolina, where everybody in that city is related to us. And there's a juke joint there that we used to go to and all that stuff. And this is how what I'm speaking from. You think about the juke joints down in Louisiana back in the day, when we talk about uh um like places like Mississippi, the Delta, right? The juke joint, it serves different purposes. So I think that is also part of why the juke joint serves such a vital role in the movie, in the film. And I don't like scary movies. Everybody keeps telling me it's not scary. I'm definitely going to check it out. Um, Again, I want to pivot one last time. We were supposed to pivot this way before we got distracted by technical difficulties. Again, the name of the podcast the name of the podcast is Mid-Major Mindset, where myself, a product of a mid-major, the George Washington University, J to J, a product of a mid-major university, Fordham University. We want to take this time to focus on collegiate sports since we do have a collegiate athlete here and we have a future collegiate athlete um, also in our presence. So we want to start. I want to talk to you guys about your dreams. Let's talk to Jordan first. Jordan still a year removed from making we have a decision to make here in a couple of months. And what are your dreams when we talk about college?
Uh, in terms of college football, I won't be when I think about the end of my college football career, I think about like leaving a big mark on a city. I think about coming back to a city and knowing I don't never got to pay for nothing there ever again. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really like considering the schools I'm considering is because I really think that a lot of those schools it's about family. I want to build something wherever I go. I want to like not just the people, not just the fans. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be everybody. I want it to be the players. I want it to be just a cohesive something that was built from the time I got there, from the time I leave. So that's what I want when I think about playing college
Absolutely.
sports.
Jalen, after your first year of collegiate sports, what is the impression that you walk away with at the end of your freshman year?
Um, it's it's funny because it's actually like a lot of people come back from college and like, oh man, college was so hard. It was almost underwhelming. It was the at like obviously like certain atmosphere. Like we played in at the Pete Maravich Center at LSU. That was like insane for me. Like I'm from Baton Rouge. Playing on that floor was crazy to me. But like the practices, it's like if it really just felt like like I'm a basketball player playing basketball at a higher level than I was before. It didn't really feel like an entirely different world.
What would you tell, you know, the class of 2025 incoming freshmen to the college realm next year? What would you tell them to focus on? What's the big difference between the collegiate game and the high school game?
Is your ability to regulate yourself. Like in high school, I can come out and I miss two shots and I'm mad. It's like, yeah, I'm mad, but I'm known to be able to get another shot. Like if you miss two shots in college and you're mad, and not only you may not get another shot, but you're mad. Your coach can see that you're sitting down the rest of the game just because you're mad. It doesn't really matter how many shots you made or missed. So it's like in college, it's more important to focus on. Like obviously, everyone says focus on the things you can control, but like it really is imperative in college to focus on the things that you can control because there are so many things that you can't.
Absolutely. Jordan, obviously me and Jalen, have something in common because I played college basketball. He's playing college basketball. You're going another path, which a lot of people don't know that I played football in high school and I was pretty good at it. I could have pursued that, but I didn't love it the way that you love it. Um, when you see college football and you see the camaraderie, you see the passion of college football, what is it that you look forward to the most of being a part of college football?
I mean, just the and to be honest, it's the spectacle. It's the you turn on the game, you watch the players run down the run out the tunnel. You watch them warm up. You listen to the crowd just progressively getting louder and louder and louder. You watch the kickoff. I mean, it's every single part of a football game, especially a college football game, is an experience. And when you got, I done visited colleges. I done been on game day visits. It's different. Like it's just it's a type of feeling you can't replicate. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't even been on that field. I'm just talking about from being close to it, from standing on the sideline, from some of these guys, from practicing with them and then seeing them practicing and seeing them go to games. It's the spectacle of it is just amazing. It's something I'm really excited for because it's something that you don't really get
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I've played basketball in a lot of different countries. I've had my name called in arenas with, thousands of people. But let me tell you something. My high school football team wasn't that good. But that feeling you get when you put on all that equipment and you guys get together, you band together and you walk from the school through the parking lot to and you hear those cleats on that concrete on that seam, that click clack, right? And it's dark and those lights are shining. And like I'm talking about this, I haven't played football since my junior year of high school, and I got goosebumps right now, right? There's something about that feeling. So I cannot wait for you to come out that tunnel. And then I can't imagine the goosebumps that we're going to feel when our baby boy is out there playing college football. It's a lot like when I get to sit there and watch Jalen play basketball. It's like a feeling that I can't really put into words. I can't wait for it. All right. So now I want to ask you guys, what are you being educated on the NIL? What are your thoughts, and what do you know about NIL and NIL deals?
I think I think that there are kind of two major, like whenever someone asks me about NIL, there are like two major things I always talk about. And one, which I feel like is the most important, I don't think the amount of money kids are making is the problem with NIL. And secondly, I think people don't understand the responsibility they have as the first, like this is like the first class of kids to have NIL all for it. Like they don't understand that the things they do will set precedents. What Nico just did at Tennessee was like obviously I don't know Nico personally, so I don't want to say like, oh, he did this, that, and the third, because like what a lot of people don't realize, like these kids don't just like become 18 and like their parents' opinions don't matter anymore. Like Nico wasn't the only person to make the decision to leave Tennessee. However, it's like what Nico and his camp did was like wildly irresponsible because there's going to be another quarterback who comes through and wants to get paid, but because of what Nico did, there will be a rule in place that makes it harder for him to get paid.
Yeah.
Who
Um.
Nico? Put me on, nephew. Who Nico?
So Nico, he was the number one quarterback in the country at one point. He fell down the rankings, but he was a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school, and he committed to play football at Tennessee. He started this past season. They made it to the playoff. They lost in the first round, but there were reports coming out that he wanted to be paid more, and
Wanted to go from 20 to 40.
yeah, he wanted to go. Yeah, he wanted to almost double the amount of money he was making. But the thing was, like, Tennessee didn't feel like he deserved the money, and someone said something like Nico was holding out of workouts or something like that. But
Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, but Nico's camp said he already entered transfer. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But basically, what it looked like from the outside looking in, because obviously none of us worked for the University of Tennessee, was Nico didn't get paid, and he said, "I'm not getting paid, so I'm not playing." And that's a brand new issue in college football. That hasn't been a thing. So it was a huge debacle.
Yeah, there was actually proof that came out that he was trying to hold out of the playoff game to make more money. There was actually literature that I can't remember if it was text message
Crazy.
or email or whatever, but there was actually communication that did come out that his family, his team asked for more money to play in the playoff game, and that's setting a precedent that nobody wants to be associated with college sports. I'm so glad it's one of those situations where you got a good situation and somebody's gonna mess it up. He was the first one that put it in a situation where he could kind of mess it up. Um, Me and Jade have talked about it in the past about being, former Division One basketball players, and I've told you guys all the time, when I was at GW and we were going on our run at GW, I would walk through the bookstore, and the T-shirt that was, the best seller on campus was a shirt that had the five starters named. It said Carl, it said Jr., Mike, Omar, and Pops. And the T-shirt probably selling for $35 a pop in the bookstore. Not only that, the number 2 GW uniform was selling in the bookstore. And I had to go back to my dorm room and eat a protein bar and drink a protein shake for dinner. So I'm all for the NIL and kids getting paid off of what they should have always been getting paid for, which is their image and their likeliness. I do think that there has to be some type of policing of it. I think right now it's a little ridiculous. Some of the deals that are being signed, it's a little one-sided. I think you do have to kind of balance it out a little bit more, but I'm all for it. I think it's great. What do you guys think about the transfer portal?
Just before we get to the transfer portal, I didn't get a chance to speak about
Oh, I'm
NIL.
sorry, baby. Go ahead.
Um, we are being educated about NIL at our school. We have a NIL. The NIL person from LSU comes in our school and talks to us about NIL about 2 3 times. Did about 2 3 times this year. Um, and what I've taken away from most of these discussions is that for most college, well, let's start here. Big college schools are the way NIL works is about to change drastically. Players are about to come almost contracted athletes
Mm,
under under schools. They're going to be almost, what's the word I'm looking for? There is a certain type of employee under the government. But
1099, a private
yeah,
contractor.
1099 employee. The issue with this, or the issue before this, the reason for this, I
As it
guess,
should
is
be. That's business.
that's
Get that business to this one. We need to get that business side together. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the issue is you can have a player like, let's take Nico for example. You're paying Nico $2 million to play football for your team, and then he gets to the playoffs and he says, "I'm not going to play football for your team." What there was no contract. You just told him you were going to give him $2 million, and then he told you he was going to play football. There was no there was no agreement there. So what's the situation? Or when you have a situation like, I'm not gonna try to. I can't remember which team it was, but this happened 2 years. The first year that NIL was introduced, there was a team at the end of the season that
UNLV.
all of their players, UNLV, that all of their players transferred because they did not get any money.
Hmm.
And then this year we have Marshall, where
Hmm.
all of their players are leaving because they did not get the money that they were promised.
Hmm.
This can't the fact that this has happened multiple times over is just insane to me. The fact that, and that leads me to my next point, that the NCAA is not stupid. They're allowing this to happen as like a,
I
oh
told
yeah, we
We let it happen for a little while. Now we're gonna put the hammer down.
yeah, like it's like it's not even that they're gonna put the hammer that they want to. It's like, y'all were asking for this for so long. Well, this is what y'all get. Look at it now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like y'all were asking for it for so long. Well, now that y'all have it, but that's like it's very it's very divisive, I guess, is the way that, from the NCAA's standpoint, is very divisive the way NIL is being handled.
Yeah. Like, it's not fair, right? If I'm if I'm South Alabama, I'm never going to be able to create the NIL money that Alabama and Auburn are going to create, right? If I'm Georgia State, it's going to take me 50 years to be able to try to create the money that UGA
Fordham
and
University, we
Georgia
never going to
Tech,
be able to create that money.
you guys are never going to be able to create it. And you know why you're not going to be able to create it? Because you don't have a major football program. So that's going to be the problem for schools like GW, for Fordham. For schools that don't have football, all right? And you don't have a
Facts.
a huge basketball program, right? You're not going to be able to create the money to compete. So things have to be done But I think the NIL is the right direction. I think, like I said, it has to be policed better. Right now, it's the wild, wild west, and anything goes, and that's not going to work. But I think it, yeah, they'll fix it. They'll fix it.
Also, on the business side, coach, like beyond the NCAA, because now I work on the business side. Now my mind is working on how do I get my athlete NIL contracts with these different companies? Because all
Right.
NIL is sponsorship deals. Like we know
Is
how
it?
to get sponsorship deals. If you
Mhm.
don't know how to get digital marketing sponsorship deals, please follow me on social media so I can teach you. Because we are all micro influencers. There is money out here to be sponsored with and be partnered with these different companies. But on the flip side, like I've reached out to so many different companies and they just legitimately don't know how to partner with the NCAA and to partner with these athletes to give them NIL um contracts. So that's another aspect to look into it as well. Like, because I've reached out to many different companies for my mid-major athletes. For speaking of Mariah Perez, who was on billboards in Dayton for women's basketball, who played for the Puerto Rican national team for the Olympics, who was all over the place. And I'm like, yo, Mariah, why you don't have no NIL deals? Who I'm reaching out to these companies, and they're like, yo, we just don't know how we can pay them. We don't know how it benefits them and us at this point in time. So on both sides, there's some growth that needs to happen, so everybody can also get to the bag, not just the top schools, not just the top players, not just the big time athletes. Like everybody should be able to get to the bag for NILs, in my opinion.
Yeah, should, but I just don't think that's how the world works. Again, if you go to just let's take, because I'm in Georgia right now, let's just take Georgia. If you go to Clark Atlanta and you're the best basketball player at Clark Atlanta, male or female, y- you're not going to get what the players at Georgia Tech are going to get because they're playing in a bigger market, right? They're on TV, they're in the ACC. So it's just not. I mean, and even if the city of Atlanta, right? If you're in the city of Atlanta and the kid is a star at Georgia Tech, he'll probably be on a billboard. The player's a star at Clark Atlanta, you probably won't see them maybe on a bus bench, maybe on campus. You know what I mean? But like, so those things are going to play a factor in it. So those are the little things that have to be discovered. I think eventually we're going to get to a point where you're going to have
I definitely get.
a big school, and this is what my conference does. The conference I play in here in Maryland. Shout out to the CMC, the Central Maryland Conference. We have two divisions. We have a big school champion and we have a small school champion. All right, that eventually is something that's probably going to happen because, again, how are you going to compete if you're an A10 school where the majority of A10 schools don't have football teams? How are you going to compete with the SEC schools when it comes to NIL money? Right? Like eventually that gap is going to get so wide because of the money that these schools make, right? If a school has a football team, they make so much more money than a school that doesn't have a football team. Not let me get that, a Division One football team, right? Not a FCS football team. I think Fordham has FCS or had a FCS football team. Georgetown had an FCS football team. Um, those programs are not going to make any
Oh no,
money.
no, they were
Fordham football is
Division
not
One. They
Division
were
One.
Patriot League, however. They were one double A. Fordham football is one
Football
Division One
works
double A.
FBS, FCS, right? You're either football championship series, your FBS or your
Huh?
FCS.
Yeah.
Division One Double A is now FCS. Like
It's
it's
FCS.
yeah.
Teach me
You have
something.
you have the
So the
Teach
FBS.
Patriot
me
League is an
something.
FCS league.
Yeah, the
So
FCS would be what you consider like the
so
Division Two
Patriot League
national champion.
wasn't Division One. The Patriot League isn't.
It's
In
Division One. It's
football,
just
no.
not like the top of Division One. It's like
It's like Georgia Division One versus Southern University Division One.
All right. So there's a like HBCU Division
Got
One,
you.
right, and the A10. It's two different things. It's two different levels of basketball. right? And that's the same thing with football, right? Like
But
Fordham football is not going to play Alabama.
that is one thing I do like about NIL, at least as it pertains to football, is that it's such a one-on-one sport. Like I know of course, the team aspect is a large aspect of football, but like it's such a Jimmy's and Joe's sport that NIL has become like immediately when it was implemented, it almost became a fashion of kind of like a direct correlation to just how good a player was. Like I maybe I can't speak for in all sports, but in football, there's so many players on every team that you just can't make the argument that every single player needs to be
Should
getting
get
NIL
one,
money.
right? Right.
So I feel like in this sport that NIL is kind of perfect because it's like, yeah, if you're on the field making all the plays, you're gonna be the one getting paid. Like
Getting paid.
it's
Yeah.
it's not like basketball where it's fluid with all these guys. So if my point guard is averaging 17, but my shooting guard is averaging 15 with 7 assists, should I give him money or should,
Right.
it's not like that.
Right.
It's who's on the field doing the best. We're gonna give him money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like it almost acts as like a contract incentive for each and every player on the field on every single team because it's like if you play good, you're not getting paid right now, but if you play good, you will.
You
As
will.
opposed to the way basketball transferring works, where it's like you could be coming from this FCS school averaging maybe like 5.8 points, but you're huge and you're uber athletic. So you're going to be at Georgia getting paid as much as their point guard who averaged 17 last year. It's
Right.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that about the portal. Like, I think the portal is what exacerbated NIL to the point it's at right now. Like, if you could only transfer twice, or if you could only transfer once, no one's. I'm not giving you. I don't like. Let's say I'm the head coach at LSU. I coach LSU basketball, and I have a point guard who's already transferred one time. I'm not. If you ask for $2 million, I'm not giving you $2 million because I don't have to because you can't go anywhere else. Like because people have the ability to transfer now, you have to pay them more because I don't have to stay if you don't give me the money I want.
Right.
And I feel
I
like
think
that's what's really made like the two of them have made each other much worse.
you're right. But here's what I'll tell you about the transfer portal and why I don't want players to be locked in. Right. I think players should have the freedom to move. Because coaches do. Right. Coaches do. You I played at GW. I was recruited by a coach, and before before my freshman year was over, he was already going to a new school. Right. Right.
Yeah,
So
like,
can you hear me?
Hello? Are you
Yeah.
talking to me?
Sound like when somebody was eating something, like somebody was munching in the mic.
We can hear you, Coach.
Nah.
Yeah. So I think that the
Yeah, I
portal. I
just
think
muted him.
Jalen
You good? You
froze.
good?
The portal to me it evens the playing field a little bit, right? I think guys should be able to leave. I think that if you're given a certain amount of NIL money and you transfer after 1 year, you should have to pay some money back, right? Like, and I think it all comes down to making things contractual. I think we need to get rid of this fake facade of amateur athletics and just call it what it is. It is semi-professional or is it beginning pre-professional. I don't know what we want to call it, but it's not amateur sports. Coaches make millions of dollars. The school make millions of dollars, right? Like um, the companies that are sponsors make millions. The only one who's new to making millions right now is the athlete, the college athlete, right? So I think the portal is great. I think the NIL is it needs work. I think the portal, right? Should we say that a kid can't transfer if they want to transfer? No. But I think you get one transfer for free. The second transfer, you got to sit out half the year. The third transfer, you got to sit out again. Every time you transfer,
Ooh.
a minimum of half the season.
Coach, let's sit them in their pockets now.
No, don't do that. Don't.
NIL
Here's what I say
athletes are
about
making
again,
that
like if they
money.
transfer,
Let's start
say that you
finding
transfer
them.
to a school and they give you $3 million and you only play there for 1 year. In the contract, it should say, okay, well, you got to give us a certain percentage back. Right? If we're taking money from them that way. But
Yeah,
again, when
yeah,
coaches
so
leave,
they can
they're not
learn.
losing
Yeah,
money, right? Coaches aren't losing money for leaving. So don't make the players do it. And this is my stance on leadership as a leader, right? I'm never going to ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So if a coach is going to be able to leave and not have to pay any money back or have to sit out a year, right? How about that? How about if a coach signs a multi-year contract and then leaves? He can go to a new school, but he can't coach that first year, just like a player can't play, right? Like, let's not just make it one sided. If a coach signs a 5-year deal and he comes and tells my son and tells me and my family that he's going to be with my son for the next 4 years, and after 1 year he leaves, he should be able to leave and he should be able to go to this next school and create his program and work with his program and practice with his program. But guess what? That first year on Saturday, his ass can't be on the sideline. He has to be upstairs in the booth, right? There should be some type of rules against coaches like that. If we're going to implement rules on the kids for transferring, then you got
Yes,
to implement
definitely.
rules on the coaches for leaving those kids that they've brought to these institutions. Like that's just that until that's addressed,
Hey,
right?
coach, let
Until
me
they
ask you this.
yes. Uh-oh.
Good cue.
She had a question. Again, this is mid-major mindset, man. This is our longest episode. We got some guest hosts tonight. My sons have clearly shown that they are ready for their own podcast, so we're definitely going to invest in that. You saw it birth right here on my mid-major mindset here tonight. This was not something that we decided, that we thought about or we talked about before tonight. This is just something that happened, and I'm so glad it did. So we lost J to J. I think she's coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with that about the coaches though, because like even in my experience, the coach on my visit, the staff that recruited me and was there on my visit wasn't the same staff that was there when I got to campus. And then the following off season, I had an entirely new coaching staff.
All right. And you got to you got to get ready for a new head coach now.
Yeah,
Right. So this is what I'm saying. If it has to be a two-way street. Um, man, we have done 2 hours plus, and we were still going strong. Um, I know we're gonna give J to J a few moments to get back, but let's go ahead and start closing this thing out, man. Trey, you got anything you want to leave, man? Anybody you want to shout out? You want to give your social media tags? Uh, Shout out your homes, give your mom a shout out, whatever, man. Go ahead.
Uh, dang. Yeah, I ain't both had to turn around like that.
my big dog.
Appreciate it. Um, just want to give a biggest shout out to y'all. Just my mom, you, dad, these two, Gammy, Papa. Instagram wise, nah, not yet. I got some work to do on the Instagram side before I can
What
start
we do?
shouting out.
No, 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 no. This morning, me and that young man, my oldest son, jumped in the car this morning, and we get in the car, and I turn the radio on. I never listen to the radio in the morning, by the way. For some reason, this morning, I turned the Steve Harvey morning show on, and Onk was going in. Onk was preaching this morning, and he was talking about not doing what Trey just did, and that's waiting for the perfect moment. You waiting to fix somebody. You might have said something here tonight, and you give your social media tag, and somebody that hears something you said likes it. We just heard Steve Harvey talk about that this morning, right? That we not waiting. We not waiting. Do it right now. Do it while it's not complete. Do it while you uncomfortable. Don't wait till you comfortable. Do it now. So go ahead and give that tag now.
Well, you can find me at DLO.WYB on all forms of social media: TikTok,
Absolutely.
Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat.
Absolutely.
Uh, First of all, shout out my dog Malik Robinson. He just got recognized for winning the Advocate Star Player of the Year. It's like the best
Okay.
player. And I'm not sure if it's like in Louisiana or Baton Rouge, but he won. That's
Yeah, see.
we got back to back. Howard won it my senior year, and Malik just won his senior year. That was cool.
That's awesome.
And I'm Easy Peasy on Instagram. That's EEZY Peezy. And yeah.
Go on here, baby.
Hello. Yeah. It was great talking to y'all. I'm Jordan Pinnock. Um, I'd like to shout out. Uh, I'd like to shout out. I'd like to shout out Braxton Mahan, freshman football player on University Laboratory High School. He's not very good. Lincoln boys, I'd like to shout you out too. Y'all are my dogs. Y'all are very cool people. Um,
Damn,
um,
hold on. Shot Buddy out again, because that shit was a shot out or a shot up. I don't know. Yeah. One more time. Damn, one more time. Shots fired. Oh yeah, we ready. We ready.
Braxton Mahan, Lincoln boys, lay y'all. Just find me on Instagram at P1 NNOCK underscore Pinnock, but with a one instead of an I and then an underscore at the end. I'm pretty good at football and I look good too, so you can look at my
Mm.
picture.
Yeah.
Hey, so yeah.
Uh-huh.
See them people high
Jada J,
five
you
me, they
back?
wouldn't have high fived you if you said that. Anyway.
Hey.
Yeah, anyway. Great talking to y'all. Great talking.
Absolutely. Jada J, you back? Jada J.
Here, I'm back, y'all. I live in a van. Don't judge my life.
No,
Mm-mm.
nobody doing that. Nobody doing that. Baby girl, we glad you're back. We were closing up though.
Yeah, hey fellas, I appreciate y'all. Like, thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank y'all for your perspective and being open and speaking your minds and finding this a safe place to speak your minds and be free to actually know that somebody's listening to you guys and know that somebody actually cares about what you're saying. Like, you guys put me on nephews, y'all nephews. I care. I love. We haven't met in real life yet, but no, y'all got an auntie out here that gives a damn in real life, and I'm going to. I do want to apologize to you guys. I'm on my cycle too, and I get mad passionate about sports. And me and your pops fuss all the time, like that's my big bro for real. But I
That's
know he
good
on our
TV.
side. Like, let's be real. Like, so thank you, bro, for your sons and their great minds, and thank you, black men. I appreciate and love you, black men out there.
We try.
Absolutely, man. Again, this is your boy Pinnock, man. Want to thank you for tuning in to Mid-Major Mindset. Want to give a shout out to my babies, man. They did me proud. I'm about to go downstairs and hug her and beat up on them a little bit. Man, just remember, every day above ground is another opportunity to get better. And that's what we all should be striving to do. It ain't about perfection. It's about being the best version of you that you could possibly be. Don't wait. Don't wait till comfortable situations give you confidence to do things. Do things while you're uncomfortable, right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable, man. I got a coach. That's what I do. I'm a coach, and I always got a coach. Coach Miss Jada, you got to give everybody your tags again. Give them that social media. We got to give them all the information where they can find us and all of that good stuff. One good time, the way only you can do. Golly, her Wi-Fi
Hey,
killing me
follow
right
the
now because I
movement.
set that
Watch
shit
the
up
movement
beautifully.
at Major Mindset everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. You did the lob, and where I'm dunking on their heads. Stop playing with me and don't lower the rim on me, yo. Give me the 10 footer, yo. I'm dunking this closing, bruh. Like, everywhere at Major Mindset, guys. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're there, guys. Please follow, tag us, share everywhere out there. My personal is like on the screen, Jada J added 21, and you'll find me everywhere, guys. Watch the movement.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, you can find me if you're looking for PG-13 content. You can find me at Coach Jr. 224, Coach Jr. 224. If you're looking for the authentic, real, uncut version of what we do, follow me on Instagram at Pinnock Pinnock 24. Again, Coach Jr. That's for the kids. Pinnock 24. That's for the adults. All right. Hey, we want to thank you again. We appreciate you being with us, man. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'm telling you, Jada, now we got to work on our producer stuff because these boys showed that they ready to do something, man. So we definitely got to do that. Be on the lookout for that too, man. Hey, our number one fan right there. We see you, baby. Thank you for kicking it with us. Hey, we out of here.